Very well, but remember this. I'll be talking at you when you're laid on the couch and the 12 hours of content are crashing down on your ears. When the listeners are finally tired of your hot takes and wandered home, I will climb up through your headphones and sit beside you. I will look deep into your eyes and drop by drop, I will trickle my film analysis into them like burning acid until, finally, you like and subscribe.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
In that case, I will take a double stack biggie bag. Thank you very much. My name is Fredo. Welcome to Cinema Forecast. I'm here with my co-host.
It's Connor.
Co-host. Wow, I feel like I don't use that word very often around here, but still, that's the truth. We are co-hosts.
We are together, united.
And speaking of co-host, what are we co-hosting? The one, the only, the incomparable Cinema Forecast, the movie podcast where every month we are randomly assigned by the legally distinct movie roulette.
That's right.
A category. Attached to said category are 4 movies that we feel fit said category. And each specific week, we go deep into one of those films and talk about it in the context of that category. Connor, what's our category this month?
We're doing people who are good at stuff.
People who are good at stuff. And as Connor said last week, the first movie we're doing was a bit of a last-minute switch out. We had something else planned. We're not going to say what, because we might still do that movie, and we like to keep things mysterious. No spoilers around here. But the movie we're doing today is Perfume, the story of a murder. We love a good colon in our movies.
Do we?
No.
No, I don't. I'm not a fan.
No, but like... I'm just thinking about Life Aquatic with well, no, that's just with Steve Zissou.
Right.
But like Pirates of the Caribbean,
yeah, for sure. I always forget the colon part.
Black Pearl?
Well, yeah, just in general. If you're going to put a colon after it, I'm not going to ever think about that colon again, and I'm just going to I just think of this movie as Perfume, and then I
feel like there's some good colons.
Name a good colon.
I will when I take the time to look it up. But that's not for today.
Yeah, I'm actually, it's funny because I am immersed in French culture this weekend because also an amazing game just came out called Clair Obscur, which also has a colon, Expedition 33, and this is based on a French novel and set in France, 1738.
Yeah. Well, it's not set in that year. That's the year he's born.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Also 1738. I said, hey, what's up, hello?
I don't know that reference. I'm sorry.
All right, that's for all my Fetty Wap heads. I'll make Connor listen to Trap Queen after this. Don't worry. But as we said, we're talking about Perfume, the story of a murderer, in the context of course. And
People
I said
who
murder.
Are good at stuff.
I just want to say I said murderer in a way where it sounded like I said murder, but I did say murderer. Also. You know what's interesting linguistically about that word? It's like it doesn't have any vowels. Murder, right? Like
yeah,
it's fun. I like it.
Murder.
It's a good word. But anyway, in the context of what I have come to call poigas, or people who are good at stuff.
Oh wow, yeah. And what is Jean-Baptiste good at, Alfredo?
Jean-Baptiste, he's good at smelling. But before we get into that, let's talk about some themes for poigas.
Yeah, this was a trickier one. As we mentioned last time, doing people who are good at stuff is so different than everything we've done so far. I mean, Hero's Journey, like we said, was kind of like set in stone. This is the structure of film writing. And then you have desert and aquatic films, which is just like such its own vibe, and just writing themes about a vibe is so different than writing what are the themes of something like people who are good at stuff. So I wrote down just a couple things, but I imagine I might be adding to this as we go along because I only have 5 things. I wrote down ambition, pride, sacrifice, humanity's ingenuity, and passion.
Nice. I love that. I feel like my whole sort of approach has been more and more like bottom up, like come up with a bunch of shit and then sort of group it together. So I'm gonna just kind of throw some shit at the wall right now. Mastery I think is like a big thing, like mastery and like the obsession it takes to be great. I love that you shouted out sacrifice. Another big thing that I really like that they even just kind of called out. Well, do I like it? I don't. It doesn't matter. I thought it was very relevant. I was like, oh, that's totally like part of the themes is like experience versus talent.
Oh yeah, which is a big part in this. Well, that's even like a monologue in this, or
yeah,
dialogue.
often a big part of all these movies, because you usually, like, I feel like the main character in these movies will be like some sort of like young talented upstart. Not always, but that's like one of the versions. There's also like the older burnt out person
I
who's
like
good
that
at
a
stuff.
lot, actually.
But yeah, I like that like sort of talent versus experience sort of thing. And then on like the cinematographic end, I was thinking we want lots of close-ups. This is a character study, so we want a lot of our protagonists, right?
Yeah.
We don't really necessarily want a lot of the split storytelling unless for this month we don't really have like an ensemble people who are good at stuff. This is mostly like a person who is good at stuff month.
Yeah.
If I may.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's a lot of good points I wrote down for my 6 and 7 after that obsession and talent versus experience. I think those are great call outs. I mean, like passion kind of goes
passion,
into
ambition,
obsession.
and obsession. I feel like are three sides of the same 4D coin.
Yeah.
I also, like I was saying, close-ups with that, like a lot of the like analysis of their, like, I called it analysis, but a lot of like just looking at their face to like show how they are reacting to things. We have to be able to do a good job of sort of conveying the idea of somebody thinking about stuff. Movies love to do these eureka moment things as well that I'm like, I could take or leave. But I think how you film that is very important. And then the insert shots, the process shots, that's super important in these kinds of movies. And we get a lot of that in this one. But this is a very cool section to get to. As you all know, being big fans of Cinema Forecast and listening to the intro and already liking and subscribing, maybe even leaving a comment saying how much you love us and you want to buy us some pizza or something. But at this point, we usually like to talk about when we first watched this movie.
Yeah.
And this is the first movie we have seen that one of us, that one being me, hadn't seen before.
Yeah, which is super exciting.
Yeah, so, I mean, this whole episode is going to be me talking about my first time watching this movie.
Love that.
And we teased it a little bit. So let's get to the person who's the reason why we're watching this. Connor, tell us all about your first time watching this movie.
So as we mentioned at the end of the last episode, my dad is a writer. And he has an insane book collection. He's been reading nonstop his whole life. We're talking like over 1,000 books. I don't even know how many books he has. But yeah, he hyped up this book to me a lot, and I still haven't read it because I'm a bad son. But it is one of his favorite novels. What's the French name for it? I believe it's a novel from 1985. It's basically just translates to Perfume. What is it? Das Parfum.
That's German.
Oh, is it a German book?
I think it might be. Yeah, the guy's name didn't look French.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, Suskind. Interesting. Oh, that's so fascinating. I guess it's the setting is chosen for France because that was kind of the like big
I
perfume.
mean, come on, man. Like, France and Germany have been part of each other for a while. It doesn't, they're obsessed with each other.
No, that's interesting. I just, for some reason I got in my head that it was a French novel, but no.
I mean, it makes sense why you would think that. The
sure.
setting being what it was.
Absolutely. But anywho, he told me all about this. I don't even think he knew that there was a movie out about it, but I was looking up the book because I was so interested in what he told me about it. And then I saw there was a movie, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll check that out. And I thought it was awesome. And I feel like it's definitely extremely dark, extremely strange. I can understand why it's not like it didn't blow up. I was looking up some stats about it. It got $37,000 opening weekend in the U.S., which is awful. But it did really well worldwide, actually. So it was a flop in the U.S., but it did well internationally, which is interesting. But yeah, I haven't seen this in a long time. As you mentioned at the end of the last episode, I had once excitedly basically told you the entire plot of the movie because I was just like, I need to, like, nobody has seen this movie. I need to talk to someone about this movie. And yeah, it just like broke down what I thought was so crazy about it. Yeah, that's my first time with it.
Yeah. I feel like as I said, this is the first time I saw this movie. I have a lot to say about it. I wrote notes. We're gonna do an entire podcast episode about it right now, actually. But what I
Coincidence.
will say is, I think this description kind of always stuck with me because, and I don't really want to get into it too much for several reasons. But when I was doing my sort of like my the end of my master's in film school, I had to do a research project and I had to pitch a creative project as well. And I had this idea, and I was telling you about it, and you said to me, you were like, "Oh, that feels very like Perfume."
Oh, was it the
inspired."
cooking idea?
Yeah, well, I mean, don't.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah. No, we'll
whoa,
just
whoa,
tease.
whoa,
We're
whoa, whoa,
teasing.
whoa.
We're teasing.
One day, this guy might actually write this script. But yeah. So I think it's super
rings a
cool.
bell.
Like the idea of it, like
Yeah.
I mean, because it is almost like he has like a superpower.
Yeah.
And it was cool watching this movie and seeing the little details of how that ends up playing out in like other ways as well. But yeah, I always like thought it was very cool. I think like in the back of my head, there were times probably where I was sitting at my computer like, what do I want to watch? And like, oh, I guess I could watch that, but just never did. And now here we are.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I think this movie, in the story in particular, just does something that is rare in storytelling, but it's one of my favorite things, and it's kind of hard to even put into word. Um, but it almost has this feeling like it's tapping into some unknown part of the cosmos that is surrounding us all, and there's this sense of like destiny and like eerie occult kind of like, I don't know, like the gods are, playing a game and we're all kind of caught up in it or something like that, where it feels larger than life, but in a way that you're kind of dipping your toes into something you can't quite understand, and it doesn't reveal all the mysteries around that. It just kind of lets that be the atmosphere of the world we're in.
Word. That's very cool take. Honestly, for me, it was much more like X-Men in fucking 18th century France.
I like that too, yeah.
I was just like, oh, cool. So it's like metahumans / mutants, like in this like time that I've never seen them in before. But yeah, I mean, there is I do think, especially with like the like, evoking the ancient Egyptians and the like sort of esoterica of the
Right.
perfuming arts.
Yeah.
All of that does I do see, like I do definitely see that.
Well, like for example, yeah, they have that story about opening the pharaoh's cask, and that releasing this perfume, but the way that all of his masters die, everyone who associated with him died. Like it just feels like this kind of thing written in stone by God or something, that like all of these things will play out
He's
this
just like
way.
like a path of destruction.
Right,
in
and
his
something
wake.
that erases itself just
Yeah,
by
I mean, even his
existing.
mom, like,
Yeah.
immediately. But speaking of which, yeah, let's jump right into it.
Hell yeah.
I do love that immediately the movie, super dark.
Yeah.
They were talking about studying like Caravaggio and a lot of the painters of this time. And Caravaggio is a really, really great Italian painter known for the sort of chiaroscuro style. And this is perfectly highlighted by this beautifully lit shot of his schnoz,
Yeah.
which is just so funny that it's like the main character of this movie isn't really like Jean-Baptiste Grenouille. It's really more like his nose, Also, from now on, I'm going to be calling him JBG, just so you know.
Okay, JVG, I like that. Yeah, and I like that from the jump he's just completely hidden in darkness, which he will be
Yeah.
so many times in this movie. This is our first, well, I guess I was going to say this is our first anti-hero movie, but I guess There Will Be Blood is kind of an anti-hero movie to an extent. I would say this is probably the darkest movie we've watched so far. Super gritty, very violent. And oh yeah, there is one fun fact I wanted to throw up while I was just looking a few things up, and that's that apparently this was one of Kurt Cobain's favorite books. He said he read it 10 times, and the song off In Utero called "Scentless Apprentice" is a reference to this movie, which
Wow.
is pretty awesome.
Wow. That's pretty, yeah, that's cool. Very interesting to note. I do also. I love. It's fun that it starts at the end. You know, I wrote down. You're probably wondering how I ended up here. He doesn't say it, but it feels like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, and we were talking about this a little bit before we started. This is, I think, the fifth movie we've done with narration over it.
Well, with this has full narration. I
Yeah.
was just saying like a voiceover
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
introduction sort of thing.
Yeah, and I would say, because you've mentioned before that it's kind of a like no in film writing, unless, or if you're going to do it, like you have to do it very well, basically. And I would say this movie does it better than most. I do think it, because it leans so much into the narration, it loses some of the like it just tells you thing rather than showing you things
Yeah.
sometimes.
So you just said this is the darkest movie we've seen, and I didn't feel that way.
Oh, okay.
I think actually part of it is the framing of it, and like there's a sort of like level of comedy to some of the shit that happens.
Yes,
Like when the
I was
house like
surprised.
collapses into
Yeah.
the river. So to me, it
There
wasn't
is some
like
there is some very black comedy stuff in
for
here
sure.
for sure.
So for that reason, it just didn't really register like that to me. Like No Country for Old Men, and even like There Will Be
Yeah.
Blood felt like
Those would be the
darker to me.
contenders.
And I mean, as far as like, it definitely didn't like make me feel anywhere near as emotional as
Yeah.
watching The Life Aquatic, right?
Yeah.
But I do like I see it, right? But it is almost like one of those movies where it's like what it does pretty quickly when like I just want to say very quickly the way it pushes into his nose when he's in front of the crowd, and then like the narrator says the fleeting realm of scent. That's a really cool line. I like that a lot.
There's so much good dialogue.
But and who is the narrator?
That's a great point. I forgot. I was gonna look that
Okay,
up.
yes, I thought I knew who it was. It is so the narrator is John Hurt.
Oh.
This is the guy from the Storyteller, or
Right.
what's that show called? He's got a dog in it. Anyway, it's great. John Hurt, fucking Richard, the whatever Roman numeral. No, that's not him. That's Sir Ian McKellen. Cut this out. It makes me seem dumb. But
it is Sir John Vincent Hurt.
hell yeah, John Hurt. His voice is great. I love the way he sounds. But what I was saying about the darkness and the grittiness of it is it like really kind of puts you into that world with the like super exaggerated, just like the way that it's shot with like the process shot of the baby being born and her like cutting it, and the whole thing about like she was used to like stillborn, like having stillborn
Shit,
kids.
This was her 5th kid she had under her fish stand.
Yeah, and she did, and none of them had like been alive, right? So she didn't expect
Yeah.
this one to be alive. So that was
but also didn't really seem to care. Like,
well, I think when she realized, she like ran away. Yeah, it's so wild.
I guess
So
that's the
this,
reason.
but what I'm saying,
Yeah,
sorry,
go
very
ahead.
quickly, is that like that all like amounted to me being like, okay, this is like heightened.
Yeah.
Like this is a heightened sort of like dark
Yeah.
story. I got it. I'm into it. And actually, honestly, that tone setting is so important because I feel like if you don't buy into that, like a lot of the rest of this is not going to work for you.
Totally. Yeah, and I could, again, the movie is so weird. It's so in your face with its griminess. I could definitely see a lot of people being turned off by it. Yeah, I think the reason it stands out to me as one of the darkest ones is I feel like I saw more light and humanity in some of the other ones where like and there is that in this as well, but there's so much just like life is so cheap in this movie, and it just feels like the way Jean-Baptiste never has this any kind of parental figure or anyone in his life who really cares about him at all throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, I mean, but I feel like Baldini like cares about him.
I don't know because like to an extent, but I feel like he's more of a tool to him than someone he actually loves.
I don't.
Yeah, debatable. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like he genuinely cares about him. To me, at least. Maybe I'm just being generous with my read. I wanted to say he's born on July 17th, 1738. I
Yeah.
said, "Hey, what's up? Hello." That is my cat's birthdays.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cute.
Yeah, isn't that adorable?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Rice. Happy birthday, Beans. Perhaps Rice and I will meet again one day, but for now, he is lost out in the wilderness.
King of the wilderness now.
Yeah, I guess so. So I feel like it's heightened because we have this very like this shot of her like cutting like the like umbilical cord and everything, and immediately the baby is smelling.
Yeah,
There's so much nose work in this
Right.
film. Like Ben Whishaw, like man, wow, was the like fucking like audition just like let's okay. I want like give me
Let's see
like
that
you just
nose.
smelled rose petals. Okay.
Work that nose. Work
Yeah.
that nose. Yeah, and I just want to back up really quick because I do because we mentioned that it starts at the end, but I also think they add a lot of great tension there, where they say he'll be sentenced to death in 2 days. The entire audience is cheering for his death, and it's a whole speech about how horribly he's going to die, and that all actions of mercy are forbidden, and every single thing that they say they're gonna do to him, the crowd cheers. So it just really sets up for the audience, like, what the hell did this guy do?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot set up. Immediately this guy seems to be pretty fucked up dude.
Oh yeah, yeah, and they also like very quickly show him sniffing that the guards coming. He knows the guards are coming because he
Yeah.
can smell them coming. Yeah, back to the fish market. Yeah, the narrator's just talking about all the like the grossest smells you could possibly have, just all like forced into one spot. And that
Yeah, I mean he says stench reigned the streets. The stench was foulest in Paris because it was the biggest city in Europe.
yeah.
And of course it was most foul in the fish market.
Yeah, I love that. And that it is his smell that saves him, potentially, right? Because it's his smell that saves him and immediately kills his mother, right? Because he starts crying because of all the smells overwhelming him, and that cry is what alerts people to send his mom to the gallows.
Yeah. Rough life, dude. Very rough life.
Oh yeah.
And then next, of course, he's being sent to the orphanage of Madame Gaillard. We have the whole scene where the guy tells the kids make room to like put the little baby basket that JBG is in, and the kid's like where, and then immediately these kids are this pieces of shit. They're gonna fucking kill this baby because
Yeah, well, it freaks him out. It unsettles because
everyone is unsettled by him. He is an unsettling person.
Yeah, the boy reaches his hand towards him, and the baby
And
just
he grabs his
like
fucking
horror
finger.
shot grabs his finger
And he
pulls it
smells
up
it,
to
yeah.
his nose. It just like they're just like something's not right with this kid, and it's very interesting because
But still, despite that, there's a fucking huge overreaction. Like, I'm gonna fucking
yeah.
smother this baby.
Yeah, well, that's part of what I'm talking about. Where just like life is so cheap here, nobody cares. Like you're either important to them or you're nothing, kind of thing. Yeah, and they immediately try to kill the baby. The madame comes in and starts hitting them. And then we get kind of a jump forward, right? Now he's 5 years old, I believe.
And he can't talk,
Yeah,
but he could figure out that a stick, a leaf, and a pear come from a pear tree.
yeah, he sniffed out that they're all from the same tree. Yeah, I like that.
And then
shit.
we get like his superpower sort of thing, whereas like he avoids getting hit by something
Yeah,
by
an
the
apple.
fruit before
Yeah.
because he smells it.
Totally. Yeah, and it shows him just like smelling a rat as the other kids like just look at him in horror.
Yeah, we really get like the idea of why he is like seen as strange, and then we do get him like sort of like this like trippy sort of like shot of him experiencing a bunch of things. We thought about doing this for the cold open because he's like listing so many things, and this is the part where he goes, frog, wet stones,
Right.
big wet frog stones,
Yeah.
something.
Right. Well,
Which
yeah.
is setting up this idea that he wants to, like he's trying to experience and collect all these smells, but he also needs like names for them, which I love
Right.
because it is a string that pays off later on when he meets Baldini, which is
Right.
like somebody can finally give me the names for all these smells I've been experiencing.
Totally. And yeah, the narrator points out there that like very quickly JBG figures out that language is inadequate to be able to really, and I think that kind of fits into what I was talking about, how it feels like it's diving into something beyond the five senses with this movie, where it's like tapping into like what it means to have a soul kind of thing, and him not being able to express what he's experiencing through language is part of that, and it also kind of represents his alienation from humanity.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, words not being enough to describe these things is like, that's I feel like that's just the human experience, right?
Totally, totally. But like, there's an emphasis on him. Just he can't ever throughout the whole. He has terrible communication skills.
No, yeah, he's honestly he's kind of stupid.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, right? He's brilliant, but he is.
No, I mean brilliant. I mean he's good at sniffing and murdering, like, but besides that, he seems kind of dumb.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, but like, yeah, he has this one extremely honed skill that he is a genius in, and then his like, yeah, social skills are literally zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like you said, in terms of being like a hitman murderer, he's also seems to be like a Jason Bourne type because nobody can freaking find this guy.
Well, he has no smell, dude. That's how
Yeah.
stealthy he is.
Yeah, I do like that part later where he's walking over the dog and doesn't wake up because doesn't have a smell.
Then he gets sold to the tannery, and Madame Gaillard, or MG, as I have in my notes, she gets fucking stabbed and all her money taken from her.
Yep.
Again, this whole pattern of like whoever was in charge of him, like, or was their charge, like, they die as
Anyone
soon
who
as he
truly
leaves.
knows him, any trail that could be followed, is destroyed as soon as he moves to the next path.
Yeah. We do get a montage at the tannery. We see him like working, he a place where there's a 5-year life expectancy, but he's resilient as a bacterium, working 15 to 16 hours a day, dude. Damn.
Yeah, he's a hard worker. This Jean-Baptiste.
I like the line that he says when he looks over at the city, and John Hurt says, "A utopia of unexplored smells lay in store for him." It's fucking good. Good shit.
Yeah, it's just so strange. Just again, just seeing the world through this extremely like perverse, like backwards way.
Yeah, I do. It is like I love how he says that line, and literally the next scene is like, the fucking the Grimal being like, "All right, Grenouille, let's go to town,"
Right.
And he's like so stoked, dude. So many new smells, dude.
Yeah, it's just so fun to watch him exist in this world, and I think that's like kind of what we're looking for from a people who are good at stuff movie, right? We want to have fun in like being dropped into this person's passion, like this heightened sense of experiencing the world.
For sure. I was telling you when you first got here, I am a very olfactory motivated person. Like I love smells.
Right.
Even like bad smells. Like I'm like, whoa, that was intense. I don't want to smell it anymore, but I kind of like some small part of me really enjoyed that experience.
Yeah, that's great you say that because that I forget when that's mentioned, but I do love that they point that out.
Oh,
at
that's
some point.
mentioned here. He's not choosy.
Right. He likes them all. Is that right when they come to the city?
Yeah. There's lots of these great close-ups and insert shots of all the new smells he's getting. And this is what is important, right? We have to show these people's skills in a visual way. Filmmaking is first and foremost a visual storytelling medium. All of the dialogue, all of that writing is great as well, but I feel like first and foremost it is like this visual thing. So all of these like cool shots of all the different, like, I love like you get like the like necks of people and stuff like that, like these things that immediately like evoke that thought of like, oh, like the smell of her or the smell of this or that, and all of the like close-ups of like, something. I don't have any specific examples, but like, somebody doing something with their hands and like, oh yeah, the smell of that. Like I can think of that immediately.
Right. Yeah. It flashes to her like peeling the fruit a lot. I forget exactly. I don't know what type of fruit she's peeling.
A plum.
Is it a plum?
Because she is in the credits as the plum girl.
Oh, interesting.
Much a plum to the plum girl.
Yeah.
That's when we get the thing about him not being choosy and that he doesn't differentiate between good and bad smells.
Right. Not yet, at least.
No, not yet.
Yeah. To him, it's just taking it all in. Like
he's very greedy. He wants to catch all the smells.
I love that line.
There is this shot of him where he looks like he's in absolute ecstasy, just like, smelling all the smells,
Yeah, and I love this journey. It's a very tragic story in a lot of ways. As much of a monster as he is, it's very much just like him slowly throughout the movie. Like he falls in love with his one kind of purpose in this world, and then like by the end realizes that that purpose is like hollow and meaningless. And so you're kind of just like on this ride with him to like find his own desolation.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I feel like in all of that, we'll get to the end, but honestly, I walked away from it feeling pretty good about it. Feeling pretty good about like him and his. I'm not even joking. I'm 100% with you, dude.
Yeah, well, there is something like there is kind of this. Well, I don't know.
I mean, the narrator says it like straight up, and
At the end, yeah,
and we'll talk about it
Yeah.
because I really was like, nice, dude.
yeah.
Good for JBG.
Extremely satisfying end. We'll get there. Definitely like.
Should we just do it right now and then do the rest of the episode?
No. Let's save it. Let's save the juicy goodness. I like when he's in the city and he smells the perfume shop, right?
The parfumerie.
Yeah, and I love that it's just and that this happens a couple times where it's just like a golden light pouring into this gray world from the window
Yes,
of
it
the
is
shop.
really, and like the intensity of the light changes depending on like what the smell is. Because later
Yeah.
on, when he develops his own perfume, like the light is so fucking blinding.
Yeah.
The really cool sort of play with visual stuff to get the message across. I think I have a note later on, but I'll just say it right now. No, it is in the scene. I really like the way this movie is filmed,
Yeah.
even though it's like kind of over the top.
Yeah.
It is this sort of like, I feel like over the top, like heightened thing, and it's filmed in a way like it all like sort of works for me.
Yeah, me too. I would say generally I really liked all the cinematography. Sometimes some of the dialogue scenes where it's just like two people on a screen talking to each other felt a little flat to me for some
Yeah.
reason. I don't know what it was about it.
All of the good shit is like the smell, like
yeah, when it-
communicate. Like it's like almost they put all of their willpower into like how do we capture the unfilmable part,
Right.
and kind of
Yeah.
we're like, let's not try to do any sort of creative or artsy sort of takes on a dialogue scene.
Yeah.
Which kind of, I think, docks it for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Because you can see a version of this movie where it's like all of it is integrated, right?
Yeah.
Because like him talking to people must be wild because they're opening their mouths at him,
Right.
you know? And
Yeah.
thinking about that is just like,
It really makes me want to read the book. Like I gotta get inside of like the writer's head for this one.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, he smells the perfumery. We're introduced to Amor and Psyche. I feel like this is kind of a Puagas thing as well, where like you have this like setting of like there's some other person doing something that's very popular. It's like, oh, like this guy is like a genius
yeah.
and he's popular, right?
Yeah.
But of course, the protagonist has the way to undermine this person, right? Like
Right.
eventually, that feels like a trope in these like
In
people who are good
at
yeah.
stuff movies. Totally. I like that a lot. Yeah, well it's just I think that's another thing that's
Like
just,
competition, I guess is what you would call it, maybe.
Yeah, maybe I'm gonna write that down actually, competition, because I mean that kind of falls into things like ambition and stuff. Where there's ambition, there's going to be competition.
For sure, it might be like a sub theme.
Yeah, because I think it is really interesting. And it's very fun and satisfying to see in a people who are good at stuff type movie where you see them just like being the best at their craft, just like wowing everyone. Like there's something so vicariously satisfying about that, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It makes you want to like practice and be good at something. You know what I want? It makes you want to like, follow a passion of some sort.
Totally.
I love like again so many fucking close-ups, and this is the shit that I'm saying that's like well done. Like this sort of conversation between Monsieur Plissier and the like lady who's like, oh, you're an artiste.
Yeah.
And they're like, sheer heaven. That's really well filmed, right?
Yeah,
for
yeah,
this
yeah.
movie. But it's because he's watching other people talk, right?
Yeah.
So it's not the dialogue that's important. It's like the olfactory experience.
And it's the impact it's having on him,
Yeah.
which I find interesting because as much as the narration just kind of tells you how to feel or what's happening, I feel like this is one of those moments that's a little more vague in terms of what about this moment really inspires him. Is it that he sees a new line of work? Is it that he sees that the this perfume perfumer is being called an artist and like
Yeah.
seeing how it's impacting this woman and like
All of the
wanting
above.
that kind of affection for himself, you know?
Yeah, all of the above, absolutely. And dude, we gotta say, dude, Ben Whishaw, I think he kills it.
Yeah, me too.
He
Yeah.
does such a good job. This is such a silent, brooding role, and he really, really knocked it out of the park for me.
Yeah, this is a hard role because he's so
He balances the like heightenedness with like some like really just like very great like emotive like face work, you know.
right. And I think the thing that makes this such a tightrope to walk is that he's such a cold person, but he has so much feeling and passion underneath that coldness, and so like displaying that's very
Yeah,
complicated.
he's very like shy, very like reserved, very like, you know, like posture, very like sort of like
he's very hunched.
Yeah.
Yeah, great acting for sure.
and
Great physical acting.
this is a thing that happens throughout the movie that I think also is done, you know, well for the most part. Him like being captivated by like another scent.
Yes.
And again, it is like I love this sort of read of like a metahuman or something because it feels very much like how you would film like someone sort of like superpower, right? Like
Right.
just the way like he's like because
tracking
yeah,
her down.
the fact that he can smell so good, he's like a bloodhound, you know?
Right. And this is also especially like watching it through and knowing where it's all going and some of the themes and stuff. This is also where I think it steps like a step above just a superhero story into some of that more cosmic stuff because it's very vague what is so special about some of these women. Like they're beautiful, quote unquote, but like to me it's almost like he's smelling their soul, and like that is the more cosmic side of it, and like and it's talked about multiple times that the scent is the essence of the person, and so like he smells a perfect pure soul, which is very trippy and kind of creepy and interesting.
Yeah, I'm really curious, like knowing what we know about like histocompatibility complex, what like how that comes into play for him like genetically, because it is like a way that humans have sorted like attraction for a very long time, and it's like he doesn't have a smell. Kind of makes sense why nobody loves him. But like there's still always like a subjectivity to smell in a way,
Yeah.
right? Where in that way, so is it really just like these are like objects of like affection for him and like in a way, like maybe these, I mean, obviously like they smell good to like everyone because the way that like the perfume works in the end, but
Yeah.
like I don't know, it's very interesting because I definitely had that like in mind where I was like, there's still, despite him being like an amazing smeller and being able to objectively identify smells, when it comes to people, like there's a level of subjectivity, like they're chosen in a way,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this is like mutant serial killer story, you know,
Yeah.
like that. So it was like he's just like has a different sort of way he chooses his victims.
Yeah, it's extremely complicated. I mean, I do think there's something there with
But I think actually, I want to say this earlier. Destiny versus like forging your own path.
Yeah.
Like that's something we talked about in some of the other months. That's so much a part of like Paul August movies as well. Like, and I think we see that with him in these two like interpretations where you're like, this is like the way things play out, driven by cosmic forces, like outside of ourselves. And I'm like, this guy is like choosing his victims, right? Like we have
Yeah.
like two reads on different ends of this sort of
Right.
like, is he set on this like path? And I think you are. I think your take is definitely, and I would agree that's what the movie is. Like it's like this sort of like fatalist, like he was set on this path with this like
this
gift
absolute
that
purpose.
is like also like a curse, right?
Yeah, like this. Yeah, there is this kind of sense of a foreboding destiny, all to, like, yeah, it feels like it reminds me of a Greek tragedy or something where like the gods are all playing their games and we're kind of caught in the middle of it. Like that's kind of how it feels. Like it's almost like some experiment by the gods. Like what happens if we took his soul away and instead gave him like a supernatural cosmic sense of smell.
Yeah, word. I love the like. See, I feel like I was not going that deep with it. I think because it was so late when I watched it, and maybe because I was like very satisfied with my like mutant serial killer take, that like I wasn't like, oh yeah, like they are saying like they are kind of like hinting at like he like that there's the smell is related to the essence or like the soul, of course, like the anima of
Yeah.
like a human, and him not having a smell means that he is soulless. Like totally did not think about that when I was watching it. But that is dope. That's some good
Yeah,
shit.
I think that's what they're leaning into, and
No, it absolutely is.
pretty
Like
powerful.
it makes so much sense.
Yeah, I like it
It's
a
pretty
lot.
powerful
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
to not have a soul.
Just this the way to tell a story, like like getting into this, yeah, like I said, the cosmic stuff, right? Like, and the fact that it just hints at it. It doesn't need to explain how this all works. It just like gives you a taste. It lets you dip your toe in the cosmic.
Word for sure. Yeah, I apologize for my question. I guess I was just like, this is like a fun movie. Like, like
Well, I've had so long to meditate on like
yeah.
on this movie for years, and it just like, yeah, it struck me so much when I first saw it, and I just kept kind of thinking about it over the years, even though I haven't seen it in so long. There's so many things that like
Yeah, I think
stick in my head
it
about
might
it.
also be some of like the things that I am like holding against it, like in some of the things sort of like falling flat for me.
Sure.
That is maybe like I'm just like, oh yeah, it's not reaching that level of depth for me. Or maybe it's because it's like the first movie we've done since Aquatic Month, and I'm like, wow, dude, I almost got the bends last month, and like now I'm just like trying to keep it real shallow, like splashing around in the kiddie pool.
Wow.
Or maybe I'm a fucking idiot, dude. Maybe I'm just dumb, dude.
Hey, I mean,
Dude, cut the tape. Cut the tape. Let me call Jacob. He's gonna be the new co-host.
all right, and we'll pause here as Alfredo leaves the apartment. There he goes, and Jacob walking in. Well, I was gonna say that I think that we've talked about this multiple times. You're like, when you see a movie or any story, you're going to have multiple experiences with it. Like each time you see it, and it's gonna be a completely different perception. There's definitely movies that I've completely shrugged off, or whether it's music or art or whatever, that I just completely kind of like shrug at, and then I experience it under a different setting, and I'm like, oh, and like, or like the themes resonate with me for a different reason. So it's complicated, like a first watch of a movie, different experience.
Yeah, for sure. I was just joking. I don't think I'm stupid.
No, but just in general, like I feel like a lot of people will be like, I should have like understood all of those themes the first time watching it. But it's like, like the first time I watched The Matrix, did I understand that it was like a trans story, like underneath?
No,
Like,
for sure, absolutely not.
You know?
Yeah, no. I also don't think there's anything wrong walking away from this movie and being like, it just doesn't do that for me. Like
Yeah.
that's a totally fair take as well. Like
For sure.
I think it's very cool like to hear this and to be like, oh yeah, that's like, but
For
again,
sure.
different strokes, different folks. So as we were saying, he is captivated by her scent.
Yes, the plum girl.
This is like a well sort of like I was saying, well executed like sequence of him like sort of tracking her down, right?
Yeah, and this is the first time I wrote down some great music here. I think it's just like that like light singing voice, and I looked it up. I was blown away to see that the writers and director of this movie are the composers as well, which is insane. I love that. That's so cool.
Tracks. This feels like a movie made by musicians.
Yeah, just a lot of craft, a lot of passion put into
Yeah,
it.
you're talking about like the like angelic sort of like choir music.
Yeah. It's just like, again, it's like it's almost like it's showing you he's like an antichrist kind of character, right? Because it's like this angelic music, but it's like there's little bits of dissonance in it, so it's like he's seeking this kind of angelic form or whatever, but it's like corrupted.
Yeah, for sure. I felt like to me like he was having a religious experience.
Yeah.
Like
That's a good way
with
to put
the
it.
music.
For
And
sure.
again, like he looks like he's in love. And I felt like I think that's really what I felt with like a lot of his like sort of with like his obsessions. Like later on with like Laura, he's like in love with like the idea of the person behind the smell, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's yeah. Like I said, as many things as it does just kind of outright tell you, I do really like how it keeps flashing back to this first girl throughout the movie and just like this feeling of loss that he has over
Yeah, I
losing
could.
her and the smell.
This is really like the moment where the shit goes off the fucking deep end. He like when he's like like getting so close to her and smelling
Yeah.
her, and then she like gets freaked out, she runs away, and then he like tracks her back down, and we have that shot that will get cut to a lot of her slicing the plums.
Yeah.
And then I like again the like sort of chiaroscuro that's being like used with the like light and dark, like her skin is so pale, and
Yeah.
he's sitting in the darkness.
Yeah, there's a shot of just her like absolutely lit up in golden light and he's just like in the shadows in darkness again like just yeah, very much soul and soulless vibes.
And like as he like comes up behind her, it's so fucking unsettling. Like he's like smelling her, and because of the sound design, this was a little like felt a little corny to me because I can hear him sniffing her,
Yeah.
and she's just like, I'm like, dude, she has to know that he's there.
Yeah, and
Like
this,
she has to have noticed. And then she does it. She turns around and she's like so stunned.
yeah, I almost take this as again some part of the supernatural element of him because it almost seems like his smell
He is
like
very sneaky.
it's like he lacks presence in the world and like the whole story is about like we said like every like the trail behind him burns as he walks through it. Nobody
Yeah.
ever seems to notice him. He's always in the darkness. Like yeah, his smell like doesn't wake dogs. It just seems like he's just
Yeah, for sure.
in the like he's just not there.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, if we're gonna nitpick Star Wars, dude, we're gonna nitpick this shit,
Oh, yeah.
dude. Yeah, I
I'd
feel like
nitpick,
she
yeah.
would have definitely like noticed that he was there.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but it's supernatural. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah, I
to a
mean, you
certain
know, dude,
extent.
there's space wizards in fucking Star Wars, dude. I'm just saying, dude. I'm just saying.
Hell yeah.
I think there is like, and then there is what is interesting is that then later on, Laura does like notice him, like
yeah.
at the very end,
Yeah.
which is maybe just part of like the whole like fucking cycle of the story and like the direction that it takes. But yeah, and then like he's just like trying to stop her from talking, and he like accidentally kills her.
Yeah, which is a little too easy, convenient.
It's insane.
Yeah, like he just smothers her for like 30 seconds
It's
and she dies.
insane.
It's kind of dumb.
It's
But
insane.
I wonder how that goes down in the book. Like, because you could kill someone accidentally doing something like that, but the way it's shot and shown doesn't really look like you would kill someone that way.
No, I feel like that's almost like maybe like use more like less like precise like shots, like don't go so wide, like push in really, do a lot of like close-ups of like his hand over her like mouth, and like like hit maybe his like sort of like face. Also, like if he's so good at, I don't know, man, like he's so good at smelling certain things that it's like, could he smell that she's in distress? Like I would think that like that she like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I think my thing when I was watching it is like he is like already like a psychopath, and he's looking for any excuse really to like like, I don't know, almost like he knows what he's doing. I mean, he does look so fucking
I don't think
genuinely
he was
surprised.
he wasn't trying to kill her, but I think it's more just that he is so unconnected from humanity, he doesn't even recognize that he's crushing someone.
I think it's just so it's just that part of the movie. I was just like, this is so insane.
Yeah, it's strange. I agree with you.
It works with the like, I guess like a very sort of like heightened sort of thing again, like
Yeah,
this.
almost like a play or something. Just like, the convenience of like the way you show it on a stage play, or just like,
Dude, he almost got smothered when he was a baby, dude, and then he fucking,
wow,
yeah, wow.
damn, yeah, and the fact that he kills her by depriving her of her nose, her smell.
Wow.
What an asshole.
Wow, what an asshole. Yeah. And then the way that he fucking smells her. Oh my god, dude.
this
This is
is-
like, I feel like also another thing for me is like, this is a story of addiction, dude. Like this is
Yeah.
like such a drug addict like
Yeah, he's
metaphor
obsessed. Yeah,
throughout, like, And he like is trying to chase this high for the rest of the
Yeah.
fucking movie.
His
dude.
whole life really is trying to chase the high. But yeah, it's this girl in particular, that's why it seems like it's so specific, right? Like you said, is it subjective? Is it objective? Like, what is it about this one girl? You know, I don't know. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah, I think a lot of these stories too, like, don't like it is more compelling that there's no answer, right? That it is just
Exactly, yeah.
like, is it random? Is it like a game the gods are playing? You know,
totally.
leaving all of that up in the air makes it all the more impactful.
Yeah, intriguing. Just makes you think about it longer.
Yeah, for
Totally.
sure.
Yeah, and this is one of those moments where I was thinking, like, that kind of put it in that, is this the most disturbing movie we've seen? Where I don't know if anything has made me, like, as unsettled and uncomfortable as him tearing the clothes off her to, like, sniff every part of her body. It's just, like, really, really unsettling.
I think it's definitely, like, for me, like, genre, like, sort of thing, like,
Yeah.
really makes it feel like, yeah, no, that's the most uncomfortable I think I've probably, well, no, I think the gas station scene
Sure.
in friggin'
Yeah.
in No Country for Old Men is so uncomfortable because of the, like,
Implications.
magnitude of the acting, the two performances against each other.
Totally.
Again, I think it's like so context dependent for me always. Like I feel like this, yeah, I like it felt very like comic booky, like yeah, I don't want to say pulpy not maybe the quite the right word, but there was this sort of like, yeah, this heightened aspect to it. It's like this like supernatural sort of story.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe it's because, like, I wasn't raised religious or like superstitious at all. I don't know. And it's just like, oh, we're like invoking like these like bigger things and like in like a like non-human way that I'm like, oh, okay, so we're really in the realm of fiction. Like, this is really like a fairy tale, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it feels like.
It is kind of a fairy tale,
Like,
yeah,
a
for sure.
From the twisted mind of Patrick Suskind.
You're right, yeah.
Suskind. I don't know how to say
it's
it.
kind of like a Brothers Grimm tale for sure, but like, yeah, set in him.
The Scent Collector.
Yeah, and so he's trying. I really like, again, the physical acting here. It's like so where
He's gathering.
Yeah, the smell is like fading from her, and he's like trying to collect it with his hands. He's like pushing his hands together, and you can see that he's just it's fading, and he's so disturbed and upset by this. And yeah, it's also interesting because it's partially, I do think there is this, like, not an emotional side to feeling bad for killing her, but like this intellectual side of just like, what have I done? Like, in terms of, not even,
I killed a beautiful specimen of a smell.
well, not even just for his own sake of being able to smell it. It's like he's upset that this smell has been taken from the world because of him. Like the world like has been lessened with its scent because of what he did.
For sure. I mean, from what he like, how he like, what he says later on, it does kind of seem though that it is, the world is really him because no one can smell like him. Like, I do think he kind of has another sort of Puagus thing, which is like, you don't appreciate this as much as I do.
Right.
Like, because he does have like, I love that he does say to Baldini, like, no one can smell like I do. Like, he knows it. He's aware of it. Like, and I think that's great. But I think that does kind of like feed into this sort of like, the smells are for me. In a way.
That's true to an extent. I almost feel like there is this level of him being removed from it himself, almost like if he was a painter and like a beautiful painting was ruined. It's not that he can't see the painting anymore. It's just like, look at this beautiful work of art that is gone now. Like,
for sure.
Like, it's not like there's no humanity in it, but there is this like appreciation and respect for what it is.
Right. For sure.
Reverence, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I'm just saying he seems to operate in a very sort of like egotistical vein, which again, very people who are good at stuff.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Yeah, pride was one of my themes for sure. it is all kind of just about his view on the world. Well, he's a psychopath, right? Like he's clearly a psychopath.
I feel like there's this thing in a lot of these like people who are good at stuff movies there where they're like the world is for me.
Right.
Like where it's like I'm the only one skilled enough to like fucking be able to like tackle this, you know?
Yeah. Well,
Which is funny because of the movie we're gonna do next week.
yeah, totally, totally. Well, yeah. Well, it's interesting because it's like I feel like he does. Like I guess it's hard for me to put into words. Like I feel like he does, like in most situations like that, it's because they see themselves as the best in humanity. But I don't. It's almost like he's removed from all that. Like he doesn't really care that he's the best at this. He's more like it's like society has
He
nothing
wants
to
to
do with it.
preserve and collect the smells.
Right. It's all outside of like I guess what I'm saying is there's not much pride in it. It's not that I'm the best. It's more of just like I need this. This
Yeah.
is more important than anything else.
Right, for sure. But again, I feel like in the sense of like this is for me. Like
Yeah.
it's not for
Yeah.
because that's his whole sort of world is
Yeah.
him because he's you know, I mean poor guy, dude. Really poor JBG, bro. Poor guy.
I mean, and it's tragic, right? Like
yeah, no, it's super tragic, dude.
there's-
The whole intro makes it be like, yeah, this guy tragic life.
Yeah, you wonder like so I don't know. I mean, how much of being a psychopath is it just chemical? Can being raised like if he was given a lot of love, could that have made him a good boy, or like is he just born?
Nature versus nurture. Yeah, I mean, dude, my undergraduate degree is in psychology, so we talked about so much of this shit, you know, like and it is really there's no like clear-cut answer.
Right.
Like there are so many really sad stories about dude, one of the things that I have thought of is like if I were to ever have a child and they were like a fucking psychopath. Have you seen We Need to Talk About Kevin?
No,
Oh my fucking god.
I think I've heard of it.
Okay, well, no spoilies, but dude, just it's such a tragic like story because there's other movies I feel like that kind of like do this. A lot of horror movies sort of do this with like, you know, Damon, but just like that thought of like I did my best and my kid, even if my kid was just like an asshole, you know, it's
Right.
like fuck, man. But to be like a psychopath and you're like, man, this kid doesn't like, you know, imagine like you have a child and they've like you find out that they're like killing small animals or something. Dude,
Yeah, I know, right?
it like makes my skin just like crawl, dude. Which is I think part of the reason why when I watch stuff like this, I kind of like compartmentalize. And I'm like, oh, this is not that this is not real, but
Yeah.
this is a heightened story. Like
Yeah.
we're in it for this is like a story, right?
Yeah.
Because like when because just now, dude, I was having such a like visceral feeling in my body, and to hold that like sort of like awareness of like what the reality for that long, for like a movie about a serial killer or something like that, it would like, you know.
Yeah, it's intense. It's intense. I agree.
Speaking of intense, dude, he gets the shit beat out of him, right? I
Yep.
thought it was wild that he goes back. You know, like
It's all he knows.
it is all he knows. It kind of makes sense that he goes back.
Yeah.
But I was just like, he really didn't have to. But yeah, then he just gets he is kind of like very.
I mean, he's like
meek.
a beaten dog.
Yeah.
Like that's all he's ever known is being saying yes, master. Right. Like that is
Yeah.
his life.
Yeah.
Really sad.
Yeah.
And this is when he decides he can't fall asleep that night.
He's found his purpose.
Yes, and there's some great narration. I don't know everything he said, but he will never again will he lose such sublime beauty.
Yeah.
So it's his quest to try to preserve smell because what he lost was too beautiful.
Yeah. His quest to preserve smell in animal fat.
Yep. And we get the intro to Baldini. The
Yeah,
great
there are a
Dustin
dozen
Hoffman.
perfumers in Paris.
Mm.
Giuseppe Baldini was the hippest back when he was younger, but now he's old and out of touch. Another classic little Poirgus thing, I feel like.
Yeah,
you know?
totally. They're definitely setting. This is kind of like the main mentor of the movie, the one who really kind of actually sets him up with his skill set he needs.
Kind of Steve Zissou vibes with this guy, right? Like he's kind of like hasn't made a good perfume in like a decade, you know.
Not a fraud, but a well, he becomes a fraud, but more like he's not a charlatan, but he's just kind of past his golden years. And it like yeah, like you said with Steve Zissou, he's kind of lost his passion for it. He's kind of lost his what made him great once.
Well, I mean, he even says it to his wife. She's like, "Is there anything I can get you?" And he goes, "Inspiration, perhaps."
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And a count, I believe, has requested him to make a perfume in the style of
Count Verhamon.
in the quality of I forget the name.
Amor and Psyche.
Yeah, Amor and Psyche.
Yeah, I love that the guy comes back, right, and we start immediately getting some jargon because the guy's brought like a little sample, and dude, we want jargon in our fucking.
I love the
people
breakdown.
who are good at stuff movies. Yeah, it's fun. The head chord, heart chord, bass chord.
Yeah.
Each chord has 4 notes.
Yeah,
it really sets up the collection later on.
Yeah,
and. And man, I have a note later on. I'm like, man, I'm really cheering for this motherfucker. Dude, like, kill those girls, get those scents. What that shit gonna smell like? How are people gonna react? Like, let's see how it goes.
That's like the morbid fun part of this movie is you're like, oh, like what's he got brewing? What is this? Because again, it's foreshadowed pretty soon here with the Pharaoh's cask being opened, and the odor within there and releasing, and for one moment everyone on Earth believes they're in paradise. Like saying something like that in the mysterious 13th note or whatever that couldn't be identified. I love all that.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Good lore. Lots of great Pogus shit right there, dude. I also like, we come in Baldini's like asleep at the counter when the guy comes in. They have the whole back and forth about Amor and Psyche, and he's like, why would I want to test it, right? And the guy's like, oh yeah, of course. He's like, okay, I'm going to go to my workshop, don't bother me. And immediately I was like, this guy's just going to go pass out. But I love that actually he walks into his perfume workshop, which is sick. There's all the little bottles in front. Yeah. And then, he gets everything set up. And we see that he has he also got a sample of it. And that
wasn't the one his partner just gave him?
No. No.
So he had already been testing it? Is the implication? I missed that.
I thought that's what it was, where he's like, because he like offers it out, and he's like, I thought you might want to test it. And he's like, no. And the guy puts it away.
Okay.
And he goes in, and he's like, oh, and he has the like. And I also love that this sets up later on, like, a connection point for JBG, right? Like, that he is like testing it, right? And I love the whole process. Again, we want all these process shots, the little dabs.
Yeah, on the handkerchief.
The kerchief, like, flicking it around the air. I love that that's how they, like, test it too, right?
Yeah, it's such a...
Because it would be so intense if you just smelled it directly, right?
But it's, like, it's such an extravagant motion of the hand, too.
It's just very 18th century France.
I love it. And we also get the little foreshadowing of the house rumbling for the first time.
Yeah.
He's just not concerned at all.
Yeah, not concerned at all. See, but that's happening before this, and it's almost foreshadowing he's coming,
Yeah, that's what it's.
I wonder how long it's been happening for. That's fucked up, dude. Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, it is fucked up. And I love just the.
I do love that he lives on a river though, like on a bridge.
Yeah, pretty sweet.
That's sick.
Yeah, pretty awesome. I think that was a really famous bridge in France where they had set up like an entire market and stuff. I forget. But yeah, the head chord is lime oil. I was just writing about some of this stuff down, not because it's important, but just because, I don't know, like, it spoke to me, just like trying to break down the different pieces of
I love this shit. I again, I love going deep into anything. I am like obsessive about my hobbies. Like I love learning all the jargon, all that shit.
Right.
Just
he knows for sure there's lime oil and orange blossom, but he can't nail down whether or not it's cloves or cinnamon, and he's losing his mind over what it is. I love it.
Which I love how immediately when he meets because this is even like the next scene is he's asleep, someone knocks, it's JBG with all the like goat skins, and I even wrote what a coinky dink, and you see him smelling all the smells, and then he says immediately like that he can smell Amor and Psyche on him, and that it has too much rosemary, which nobody has said anything about. Like, because the guy, initially the other guy who works at the shop, when he brings the sample, he does say there's lime oil and there's like orange blossom,
yeah.
and then he's also like he can't quite figure out what the third one is, and he thinks it's like he think it might be something, right? But nobody said rosemary, and so
Right.
JBG fucking shows up, and he's like, you can smell it all over him, dude. You
It's
know?
so fun just watching him just run around his storage of all the scents. Just
I
grabbing
do love
things.
how he immediately is like, it's bad.
Yeah, and he's like, that is not a good perfume. If you let me, I will make you a good perfume. Which
It's
is
so
like,
good.
ugh.
I mean, because you like even see Dustin Hoffman like when he smells, he's like bellissimo.
Yeah.
Dustin Hoffman playing like an Italian dude, very interesting, and he
Yeah.
does like this weird kind of like accent
Yeah.
throughout the movie, and it was a little broad.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I love Dustin Hoffman, and I like his performance in this, but I don't think it's like his best work by any means.
Yeah, I think brings a little bit of levity, but it's not supposed to all the time.
He's a bit of supposed to be a comic relief character in some ways, just because he's so just like the stereotypical character of like a Steve Zissou of like, well, I still make the best perfume, but maybe if you're so lucky, I will teach you a thing or two, like that whole thing.
Yeah, for sure. I still think that it's meant to be taken more seriously than it comes off.
For sure, probably.
I feel it definitely feels like the intention was for not to be so funny.
Yeah, I really like Jean-Baptiste's hesitation before he calls out to him. Like this is the defining moment of him choosing the path of his destiny, where he's walking away. He's like, okay, thanks, yeah, I'll go to your boss and pay him later. And he's like leaving, and you see Jean like hesitating, like, you want to make these smell good, don't you? And that's his first step into the rest of his journey, really.
Yeah, for sure. And he like kind of steps out of his comfort zone and
Yeah.
like fucking says something.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is if, like you said, if he just had a little bit more social intelligence or the right upbringing, he could have done all of this without having to murder everyone. You know what I mean?
I would love to see the like well-adjusted version of this.
Right. Yeah.
That would be super interesting to me.
totally.
Like, because so what I think was interesting about this movie with the like people who are good at stuff is that there is like, it's like there's like an extra part of it, like where it is also like a serial killer movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's fun. I think that's interesting. But some of these other movies are going to be much more focused on almost the one half of this.
Right.
So like it would be interesting to see a movie that focuses more on the one, like just like guy who's really good at smelling, right?
Yeah. Not the intrigue, thriller aspect of it.
But
Yeah.
still, the fun movie, dude. Like,
Well, I mean, for this story, I think that whole thriller aspect really works because it is. You are supposed to be horrified by this, and I do think it is like a metaphor for man's ambition to an extent. Like when you go to all of the ends of the earth to pursue your ambition and your obsession, if you don't bring humanity into it, then
it's very like
you lose your soul.
Bioshock coded in a way. I feel like.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, totally.
Well, it's got that sort of like Randy and Genius, like
Yeah,
no limits sort of thing, right?
totally. That's a good point. Yeah.
I guess I am smart after all. I love this is when we get the whole like fucking talent versus experience thing too. I also love it's so fun that we immediately get set up and maybe this is why I had a more generous read on Baldini, that there is this like give and take in the relationship where it's like he's really good at smelling, he's inspiring Baldini. Baldini is giving him the names for different smells, right? Like it's fun. The mentorship, there's something like that's exciting about it.
Totally. And I think there is this kind of buddy duo there. This is the most anyone cares about him probably in the whole movie, but at the same time, it's not
No. Ricci's cares about him the most in the movie.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. But at the same time, it's not like he's giving him credit for any of these perfumes or recipes he's giving him or anything. Like, he doesn't really care about the well-being of him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like...
I mean, the dude kills his cat.
The dude does kill his cat. I also want to say, for me, that was like just like that's probably what it was like to be an apprentice,
Totally.
like when like working under a master.
No, and
like,
I think that's true too.
Hey, bro,
I think
You know who else this happened to, dude? Old Will Turner, dude.
yeah, and the composer we forgot to mention for Pirates of the Caribbean.
Hospital, yeah. I love watching JBG cook. Even when he's
Yes.
cooking with like I do kind of like, because I was thinking like, oh, it's gross, right? When he's mixing the liquids later. And I was like, it's not really as, because it's not like the ground up body parts, right?
No.
It is just like their skin.
It's just their sweat absorbed into.
And then I realized that like, yeah, if they bled or anything, that would change like the smell and everything. But yeah, watching JBG cook, he's like a rebel in the field. He's really shaking things up. I think it's so funny. I also love there's this whole like, no, this is how you're supposed to do something.
Right. Well,
You know?
let's just back up and say he's challenging him to basically remake the perfume
Right, yeah,
from scratch.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's telling him like, okay, like show me, because he tells him I can make you a Morin Psyche, and he's like, what are you doing? You're always supposed to mix the essential
You don't
oils
shake it.
before you add the alcohol, and you should never shake a perfume. Obviously, bro. How do you not fucking know that? And then he like, and then he like tests it. He does do that. What I thought was interesting, doesn't go straight to sniff. He fucking like does a little dab with the like kerchief, and he goes, "Mamma mia!" And see, dude, this is ridiculous, dude. And you immediately know this is good shit, right? I love this for like Genius or like Poigus type movies, because like he like this is there's the moments of realization, where like other people appreciate the talent, like
Yeah. Oh well,
know.
I mean, this scene really fucking cracked me up. Where he makes them. So he says, "I can. That's a bad perfume.
Yeah.
I will make you a good one." He gets to work. And Baldini won't try it while he's there. He's like,
No, I know, yeah.
he's like, no, I'll try it later.
But that one he does just straight up sniff.
Yeah, and he sniffs it, and it just like turns into like a beautiful garden around him, and then like a woman walks up and whispers in his ear that she loves him, and then
Yeah.
kisses him on the cheek.
Insane, dude.
I love
Insane.
it. So good.
I feel like I would have maybe liked it if it leaned more that way.
Just like more absurd or what?
Yeah, I feel like again, I liked it, but I would have liked it more if it went more one way or the other.
Yeah, and I think that's, if I had to guess why this movie flops, is that it's not like a straight, or it flopped in the US, is not, it's not like a straight horror movie. It's not really a straight people who are good at stuff movie. Like it's kind of like a confused, like I wouldn't say it's confused. It's just very different. It doesn't really fit into any kind of niche, so it's a weird mood to be in. To be in the mood for this movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where it's just like such its own unique thing that doesn't really fit into anything.
Yeah, absolutely. It's writing so many weird lines.
Yeah.
And
Which I love. To me that is that's like an extra star, where it's like this is just so unique.
Yeah, that's true. It is very unique. Again, like I said, I think some of that shit is just like, I feel like maybe taking it one way or the other, but still like fun movie. Wild movie,
Wild movie.
gross movie,
But
fun movie. And then immediately we see that he's coming up in value, right? He got sold to the tannery for single digits.
That's great.
Now Baldini is paying 50 francs for him.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, I love that. You just, every time he gets handed off just a little bit more value.
Then we got the cart coming down the road. Grimal like kind of gets knocked off the fucking road and hits his head on the ground.
Yep. And drowns in the water. Drowns in the...
Fuck that guy.
That guy sucked, yeah. Screw that guy.
That guy sucked. You know he had the cool voice.
Yeah. He does sound like a D&D character for sure.
You mean he sounds like my D&D character? My old D&D character?
And yeah, very quickly, I love that we don't need any more build up here. We
got another montage.
Yeah, another montage of Baldini rising to the highest heights of his career.
He's Soup Stoops popular.
Yeah.
And JBG is becoming what I wrote down as a profumer.
Oh.
Professional perfumer.
I like that.
And this is where we get the like full sort of description of like how a perfume works, right? Each has 3 chords with 4 notes.
Yeah.
We have the head, the heart, and the bass.
Yeah.
And the Egyptians believed in a 13th note, like you said. We have the whole story about the tomb being opened up. It's God, I eat this shit up. This is
me
great.
too. I love this. Yeah.
I kind of wish there was a little bit more like
Yeah.
perfume lore in the movie. I hope
Just like
in
a
the
tad,
book there is.
just like a little bit more.
Just like a couple dabs.
Yeah, because again, like you said, how much is just left mysterious is a big part of it. I think what leaves this impact of like feeling so profound to me.
It's fucking sick, dude. I really love the super scent thing. It's so much fun, dude.
It's
It's
good.
really fun. Like now I'm like thinking like, I'm like, oh, I want to do like it'd be cool to like. It's just cool in like so many different iterations and definitely not done enough. You know, like literally, here's one for free. You want to play? You want to make a cool D&D character? Make him an alchemist with like super scent, right?
Yeah.
Like that's super fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's dope.
That's
God.
great. Plus 10 to all
I'm sick.
perceptions based on smell.
Yeah.
Love
Oh
that.
man, this shit's great.
Yep. Oh, and this is also during the story is when
The soul of beings is their scent.
yeah, which I think is kind of the thesis of the story to an extent. Not the thesis of the thematically, but the thesis of Jean's like fall from grace, or like basically the foreshadowing that everything he's about to do is pointless because he lacks a soul, and he basically is trampling on the flowers instead of just like appreciating the flower.
Bro, it's almost like he's trying to make his own soul.
yeah, yeah, to an extent.
I mean, that's what he does at the end, right? Like
Yeah.
he douses himself in like his
yeah,
created soul.
yeah.
Man, he creates his own identity. There's something beautiful about
No,
that.
it is. There is something like it does. That's why I love that ending so much. Is that it feels important, even though it is so like horrible and violent. And I love that. And I really like this next part. They deliver the roses, and they point out that 10,000 roses to make 1 ounce of essential oil.
Yeah.
And that just really stood out to me, knowing where it's all going,
Yeah.
knowing what it takes to create his perfect perfume, like the 10,000 roses that had to be destroyed, all the women he has to destroy to do what he wants to do.
Well, I think in the end it ends up being 13 women.
Right.
Well, 14. Because I think the twins are separate
Yeah.
notes.
Well, 14 not because of the first woman he kills that before he figures. No, I think 15 because he fucks up twice, right? He kills her accidentally at the beginning, and then there's the next girl he tries to put her in the vat, but that doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I
right.
think 15 total probably.
Right.
Uh,
15 total, yes. Yeah, what was Oh no, I just wanted to say with the soul of beings is their scent. That is where JBG is like, you're going to teach me how to like capture the scent of things.
Right.
And he's like, and like we have the clear sort of like deal. Like you make me like the best perfume ever, and like I'll make you the best perfume ever if you teach me everything you know about capturing scent.
Right. Totally. And he brings up grouse here, however you say it, grouse.
Gross, yeah.
As the hollow perfume paradise. I don't remember exactly how he phrased it.
Yeah, I
but-
love it. It's cool that there's again more fun lore stuff. Like this is the place where the best people at this go. Another fun sort of Pwagus thing. I mean, you're not always gonna see it, but I mean, you'll see it. You know, sometimes maybe it's like a convention or a competition.
Right.
Right.
And yeah, just the reverence Baldini has
man.
for grouse.
We should watch Brink, dude.
Brink?
Yeah,
What is
the
Brink?
movie about the rollerbladers, dude. That's what they're good at.
Oh hell yeah. I'm in. We get the house rattling here again.
He says, "Don't worry, it's okay."
Yeah, I think they do the rule of 3 here, right? The 2 warnings and
Yeah.
the third one.
He does because we have the little drop, right? And he says the very soul of the rose.
Yeah.
Wow, I really was just like thinking of the words, like not really paying attention to the word soul.
Yeah.
I was like, the essence of the rose, right? Like that's very funny how I just kind of like whoop just right over
Yeah.
my head.
Totally, but yeah, I mean, they're definitely kind of implying here that
Yeah, for sure. Scent, soul.
He's extracting the soul of the women
Dude,
into his scent, basically.
Here at Cinema Forecast, we love montages.
Oh yeah,
We say fun is the enemy of the nitpick.
we stand Willem Dafoe.
Stan Willem Dafoe, and scent equals soul.
This movie moves, right? Because like the next scene is
Him picking shit up by the river?
no, I think it's his tantrum, right? Where he
Yeah,
wakes
well,
up.
no, he picks a bunch of random shit up by the river. Then, like, you hear all the commotion and the guy comes down.
Yeah.
He's like, "What the fuck are you trying to capture?" And he's like talking about all these metals. He's like, "You can't."
He's trying to capture the scent of glass and copper, and he has
like,
all these other
I love
things.
how he tells him glass doesn't smell. He's like,
Of course it does.
"Of course it does, you fucking idiot."
Yeah.
And this is where we get again more fucking animal abuse.
Man,
This cat had
two
two
in a
different
row.
color eyes too, I think.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, this really bummed me how he kills the cat. We do get some animal like revenge later, which I really like. Well, kind of.
I was gonna like text you and be like, "Wow, Connor.
I know. How dare
Wow,
I
you
recommend
and,
a movie
you
like
and
this?
fucking suggesting a fucking movie with animal violence. How dare you?"
And I love this where he tells him he tells him that he can't preserve the smell of everything.
Yeah.
And he's so devastated by this. His eyes start tearing up and he faints. I love that.
Yes, he faints and he's like super, super sick, right?
Yes. He
And
gets
I love
he
how
has
he-
like boils on his face.
Yeah,
and
he's
stuff.
like dying.
Yeah.
And like
He just
then he's
immediately
asked him,
loses the will to live.
and he this is insane, dude. And then he asks him, "Is there any other way to preserve smell?" And he says, "Oh, the mysterious art of enfleurage." This movie's ridiculous.
It is.
This
I love
is so
it. Though.
fucking funny. It's so silly.
I love it.
Could I learn it in Gross? Yeah. And also, this guy killed his fucking cat, dude. Like he's
Well, that's why I just like I don't know if this guy actually likes him. It's just like I need you because my
no.
career
I think
needs
at
you.
this point he's definitely like, I need like whatever. Like you leaving is great for me. Just let me make some money off of you after you killed my fucking cat.
Yeah.
You know, at this point, it's clearly like that we probably need to go our separate ways.
Yeah, and I really like he makes him a deal in exchange for his papers.
His
which is-
journeyman papers, 100 perfumes.
Yeah, 100 perfumes, and I like that the narrator points out here that like this is easy for him. He has an endless amount of perfumes he
Yeah.
can make. Like he this is nothing. Like it's
Yeah,
and this is everything to Baldini, who's been like his whole life has been around this. Like,
Yeah, for sure. It's good stuff. I love how he's just like, yeah, whatever.
And then
The day he leaves, the fucking house crumbles into the river.
and Baldini dies happy, which I like. He's the only one who really gets like a pleasant kind of death. Not pleasant, but just like he dies in peace. Like his last memories are good, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Then we do have him walking two different paths. Of course, he takes the one without any people.
Yeah.
I love it how he like gets to this cave
Yeah, this
where
part's
there's
really
no
good.
like there's almost no smell.
This is one of those scenes that
And
just
it-
like forever it's like in my head.
It's also kind of sad how he's like, oh, it's so tranquil and he can finally be with his thoughts. It's so sacred. Like
Yeah.
he can finally bask in his own existence.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he should probably just like stay here and die. Like
Yeah.
it's probably like the best ending for like anyone.
Yeah, in the narrator says he almost forgot his plans.
All
and
his plans and obsessions,
He could have
yeah.
just like lived out in the wild, I guess, or something.
Yeah. And then like the like hello, right? Like, oh my god, that was so wild. This movie's trippy. I like the things it does with the way it films the scent, like I've said many times, and like him there's a lot of cool things that are done in that way to kind of like disorient you. But yeah, then his hair is all long and he's got like a beard.
Yeah.
You know,
So he's been there for weeks, days? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
And
yeah.
he just kind of
It's like almost like Siddhartha, dude, like
Yeah.
sitting under like the fucking tree.
Oh, that's a great point because it is his revelation, but it's like
It's
the
so
corruption
sad
of that revelation.
that that he realizes this, like he has no scent.
Yeah.
And I was like, at first I was like, oh, his smell is gone, and like, oh no, he never had a smell.
Yeah, I just never realized, never even thought about it. Yeah.
Now, new plan, still going to Gross. He wants to prove that he exists and he is someone and he is exceptional.
Yeah, I really just some of the writing here is so
He
beautiful.
really needed one of those daily affirmation calendars.
Yeah, totally. Well, the narrator saying here, he had been a nobody to anyone. It was as though he did not exist at all, which is kind of the ending of his character. is
He's a
never
bit of a
really exist.
Henry, dude, right? Like like as
Yeah.
you said, as it says in the movie, he is no one, you know?
Yeah, totally. And just that is what creates his new revived resolution to see this through is that he wants the world to know that he is someone.
He does have an identity. He's a guy who's into redheads.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. He would teach the world he does exist. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so he's back on his journey to Grouse.
And he smells Laura for
yeah.
the first time.
Yeah, he gets another perfect smell, I guess. And yeah,
She's that 13th note, dude.
Yep. He immediately follows her to the house. Again, we get
chasing her scent.
this beautiful operatic singing here as he like hops the fence and is kind of watching her from a distance. And
yeah, he sits in that tree all fucking day.
It's very
just sniffing away.
Very creepy, very unsettling. I do like there is this kind of like purity to Laura, which is also what kind of leans into like it's not just really about her looks, it's more of just like she's like almost like too good for this world kind of thing, like where the only times you ever really get her speaking is she's always very soft spoken and sweet, just feels very pure. She comes up to apparently I think put a new rose in her mother's kind of monument, I believe.
Her mom is dead.
Yeah.
And her father is Alan Rickman.
Yes.
I feel like she's not like a real character,
Yeah.
She's just such like a like object of like desire.
Yeah, I mean to me she just kind of represents everything that Jean-Baptiste is not, which is just like simple pure existence, and he is this kind of monster that's trying to like greedily take that.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that this movie does is that because she's like really like not a character, I'm like, yeah, dude, go for it. Like fucking capture her scent and make your fucking perfume.
I mean, I was still rooting for her to live, even though I knew she was gonna die. But yeah, I do think that there is this kind of disconnected feeling from the characters in the movie, which is intentional, right? Because it's through the perspective of a monster. But I do think that also like maybe there's another version of the story that is more focused on the heart and soul of the characters that aren't him.
Yeah, for sure. But I think also it's like we're using like shorthand. She is it's Rachel Hurd Wood. She was like 14, I think, 14, 15, 14 into 15 when they were shooting this. So she's like a young girl, and I think and pale skin. I feel like all that shit very much like is like the visual shorthand in a lot of like Western media to be like purity, innocence, like she is like youth. And I think like the movie does a good enough job with that where you're like I'm being a little tongue in cheek by saying like, yeah, whatever, go ahead and kill her. But like, because obviously like, no, I don't want people to be killed. Like not into that. But she does have like these, I think, like I said, this like sort of shorthand of like purity and of like innocence, as I said. Totally. That like is like something that he never had ever. And he was born onto fish guts. Yeah. Like and immediately contributed indirectly and not meaning to, of course, to his mother's death, right? Yeah.
And everywhere he goes, everyone who knows him dies.
Yeah, I mean he like lived in like a fucking tannery, dude. Have you ever heard about how those places were supposed to smell? They're always kept like away from like the cities.
That makes sense. Wow. Oh yeah, and again, just when he's watching her from the shadows, like the acting here, where it brings tears to his eyes. Again, just how beautiful she smells.
Yeah, I know. Those shit's good, dude. Shit's good.
It is.
Then we get the people that are all picking lavender.
Yeah.
And it's this girl's first season, right?
Yeah.
I saw in the credits. This is Sarah Forestier, and her name is Jean. Jean. I don't know, some sort of French name. Anyway, she's talking about how it's her first season, and we got this guy says, picking together is more fun. And she says that she's heard that he picks everything.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of saucy little back and forth.
Yeah, and it's very...
I was also like, where the fuck is this coming from?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, it's very, how little we get from the majority of the girls. But I guess they're kind of setting her up as like, this is a representation of every other life he is going to take. It's like, it's just, some girl living her life, like they wanted you to connect to her a little bit just to kind of put a face to the people he's going to be killing a little bit, even if they don't go too much depth there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then we see that JBG is learning enfleurage.
Yeah.
I will say, um, there's a little bit of a historical goof here, a little bit of an anachronism.
Oh.
The way that they are, the method of enfleurage that he's doing, that he's first seen practicing with the
Putting the petals down on
yeah,
the
it's
fat?
called cold enfleurage. That wasn't developed until the 1800s.
Oh, okay. Pack it up. This movie sucks.
You want another one, dude?
Yep.
The kind of dog that the sex worker has wouldn't have been in
yeah, it
Europe
looked like
at
a
that
very
time.
modern kind of bred.
Well, it's
dog.
a Pekingese. It's a Chinese dog.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
That's kind of fun, but inaccurate. Bad.
he's a cute little dog.
Yeah, it's a really cute
He's
dog.
a silly little guy.
Yeah, I love this little dog.
Oh, what's his
And
name?
they focus on it a lot too.
What's his name?
I don't know.
Give him a name.
Vat of soaking petals. We see the vat. There's something so creepy about the vat even before you know what he's going to use it for, or maybe it's just because I knew what he was going to use it for.
No,
really
yeah,
creepy.
I thought it looked sick as fuck. I was like, that's really cool.
Okay, yeah, maybe it's just because I
Felt very art project.
remembered there was going to be
Yeah.
a body in it, and I was just like, ugh. Which yeah, but the whole process of the
Because he tells him to check. This guy's being mean to him, and he's like,
Dominique, I believe.
yeah, fucking. That's so. I also love that he can smell them having sex. Like that's so
Yeah.
fucking funny.
There's stuff like that where it's so quirky. Yeah.
Yeah, but dude, and he tells him like he's like they're not ready. He's like, well, I told you to go fucking check him, right? And he like seemed to being mean to him because like the lady he's hooking up with
Recognizes
yeah.
his greatness.
Yeah,
He's,
she even-
he's feeling threatened. Yeah.
yeah. She even says like do it more like JBG.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's kind of everyone is either freaked out by how weird he is, or they're like upset that he is so much more talented than they are. We get the scene of the
Lucien and Jean are like they're like
in the barn,
Yeah.
kind of playing around.
the latter bit is good. I love that.
Yeah, she's kind of playing coy. She doesn't want to hook up, and he's like kind of being a boy about it, and she goes up into the loft. He follows her up.
Being a boy about it, leaving her trapped up there to be
no,
fucking murdered.
I just mean like
being like pushy, yeah,
persistent.
yeah,
And
classic man behavior.
yeah, and she pushes him while he's on the ladder into the hay, thinking it won't hurt him, but it does kind of hurt. Which is like I like this scene a lot, or like that setup a lot, because that feels like a very realistic kind of like she was trying to be goofy, but it hurt him and it hurt his pride, and then.
In her short time on screen, she like I felt like she was a more developed character than like Laura.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, she has more personality. Yeah. Well, she's like she's a little more a little less like you said, the shorthand of like purity and like she seems more like a person. Yeah, for sure. Very creepy that when he comes back in, you don't see.
No, but I knew it was him.
Yeah.
And I thought that they were gonna I thought he might like talk to her or something, but then I was like, oh, okay, that's what this movie is. Like it's like he's not going to, and I kind of almost like welcomed it because like sometimes it's very draining, like the fucking awkward interaction as it's supposed to
Right.
be, right? And I'm like, am I gonna watch him be like, I'm shy and weird,
Right.
and she's like, oh, let's be friends. Because I felt like, I mean, in my head, the way I watch movies, sometimes I'm like, oh, is this going to be like his one friend while he's like murdering all these other girls or something? Nope.
No, yeah, and talking through this, I am realizing just like I noticed it while watching it, but the pacing's so good because it feels like it cuts out all the bloat. Like and sometimes maybe it's cutting too much out, right? Like maybe we could use some more development here and there, but it does really feel like it just keeps moving, like the scene, everything that needs to be like no wasted scenes. I guess.
So like the way that like my dad talked about the book, it feels like to me the movie's like fun, like and like tickles some of these like intellectual like depths, but like the book really like has the breadth to like take it like take it all the way.
I gotta read it, man.
Yeah, I
I'm
want to
more
read
and more
it too, dude.
interested.
Spin-off podcast.
Heck yeah. Well, there's so many. We've covered so many book adaptations at this point.
Litcast.
Litcast, literature forecast.
Yeah, I do like this is a fun sort of like, do we want him to be discovered? Do we not want him to be
When
discovered?
she's in the vat, yeah.
She's in the vat, and I love like the delivery girl comes and she's super fucking nosy, but like kind of understandably so. Where I'm like, I would be like, can I see what's in the tank? But he's like, no, you can't fucking see, right?
This is such a ballsy move.
Yeah.
By Jean. It's stuff like this it's a little hard for me to believe how good he is at not getting caught for so much stuff because he's so like bold here. Like this is such a bad serial killer move.
I like the way that he finds out that his experiment failed though.
Yeah.
It's in the whole context of this wild bad serial killer move. It's fun that the guy's like, doesn't smell like anything.
Then my experiment failed.
Yeah, dude. Pretty fun little like, you know, visual thing.
Yeah, good little lie. Like it shows that he is intelligent, but it's just like such a narrow focused intelligence because he's like he comes up with the I'm
protecting it from the sunlight.
Yeah, I'm seeing if I can get a better
which is
smell.
honestly what I thought immediately. That's what I would think of as like an excuse. Like, well, you need to protect it from the sunlight because that will degrade it.
But
further.
like he is quick on his feet, but like very dull in other ways. Yeah, it's interesting.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
Then we have the dog, the sex worker who has the dog, and I like how it's
real
almost
quick,
like
for some reason I wrote visits Lady of the Night, and I wrote night with a K, like a night for some. I don't know, just was not paying attention while I wrote it. I guess.
Remember how I told you I spelled neck with a K once? I almost did that when I was writing this at one point. This is so interesting because like he's killed 2 people.
He doesn't want to kill her. That's not his first move here.
One person on purpose, but now he's like, maybe I can do this without killing her.
Yeah, this is where he really fails. This is where maybe if he just had been raised a little bit better, maybe he doesn't have to go down this route. Because with how successful he is as a perfumer, he could easily, you know, sell some perfume, make enough money to hire and explain what he's doing, hire people. He doesn't need to kill anyone to do what he's going to do. But he has such bad people skills that he just reverts to that.
Yeah, I'm so curious how this is tackled in the book, you know? Yeah. It's so interesting. Like, yeah, like you said, I had the same thought. Like, and I think when you had told me about this movie originally, I'm like, wow, how does it like cross that line or whatever?
Right.
And in my head I was thinking, oh, so we probably get a story about him becoming a successful perfumer, and then he's like, ooh, actually like
more of a mad scientist
guts
kind of thing,
or like fucking like blood, shit like that.
He accidentally his lab assistant accidentally spills some blood in the perfume, and then he realizes
inside, you know, like the insides, because that's to get the insides you need to kill someone,
right? But no, yeah, he didn't.
But no, he like literally doesn't need to kill them. That's
he gets
so
frustrated trying to explain what he's trying to do, and he just can't. He just can't have a conversation, so he kills her.
This is another great sort of like people who are good at stuff like theme, where it's like, you know, I'm so frustrated that you don't understand this thing that makes so much sense to me.
Totally. Yeah, and so he kills her right in front of the dog. Frowny face, and I was like, why?
But he doesn't kill the dog.
Yeah, he's like, well, because he doesn't kill for anything other than purpose.
And I should say, so this is where we establish his pattern of he covers them in animal fat and wraps them up in these cloths.
Yeah, and I do like that throughout the movie we see him kind of perfecting this technique, where later we see that he puts the fat on the cloth first so that he can wrap it up around.
That's at the very end, yeah, because he's going in. It felt kind of like, all right, this is like a quick mission, in and out, you know? Right. So I got to have my fucking cloths all ready.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's just so creative and weird.
But again, a lot of those process shots, those insert shots that we want a lot of when we're watching these kinds of movies.
Yeah, totally. And I just thought it was so funny and weird that they kept focusing on the dog, and I totally forgot that the dog like comes back in a big way and is important. So I love that the dog like becomes this kind of important character.
The dog comes back 2 scenes later, literally. Like what we get is like I mean, and we see, of course, he cuts the hair too, like, and
Yeah,
covers
there's
him
that
with fat.
shot of him like squeezing the fat through her hair, and it's just like, ugh, that was one of those shots that just really unsettled me.
I'll be honest, man. It kind of like I was like oddly satisfying to watch.
Well,
to me.
I think that's part of what grossed me out about it. It's just like, oh yeah, that there is like because yeah, you're watching him be such a like meticulous, perfect craftsman, which is satisfying, but it's just like under the most like
classic Pogus
unsettling circumstances.
Yeah, so he cooks up her fucking set, dude. He fucking finally did it.
He's
And I
done
was
it.
in my head, I was like, I remember in the movie, I legitimately was like, everything is leading me to believe that you have succeeded. Did he do it though? There was still that down the back of my head.
And then
So when he like smells it, it's like sick. And then the test
with the dog.
This is a fun little test.
Yeah,
I did see like the dog's out there on his own. Poor guy, dude.
I know. But he gets revenge, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he uses and so for people who haven't seen this or haven't seen it in a long time, he uses the essential oil that he's made from.
It's a little dab.
He puts a little dab on his hand, and the dog recognizes the smell of his
comes
former
up, yeah.
master, which means his experiment worked.
Starts licking his hand,
Yeah.
which is foreshadowing.
Oh yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
I don't know if on purpose, but it's foreshadowing.
Yeah, for sure.
Then you see all the tiny bottles, and you see that there are 13 bottles.
Yeah, this is kind of the whole rest of the movie is just kind of him working towards his master plan.
Yeah. And you can tell that he wants Laura's smell.
Yeah, we cut to Laura blowing out candles on the cake.
Dude, I gotta say, Snape's squint game in this movie is fucking great. Like, the whole movie, he's just like this, and it's just like, but it feels so like, I don't know,
He's
man.
squinting for the folks at home, yeah.
Yeah, I was squinting. But yeah, Alan Rickman is just squinting up a storm.
Yeah, I love Alan Rickman so much. Rest in peace. This is one of those shots that did stand out to me, is especially flat. The shot of her blowing out the candles and they're just kind of standing around the table talking. I don't know what it is about the way it's shot, but like, I don't know, it just felt off to me. I don't know if you noticed that. There's a couple dialogue things like we mentioned, but this is the one that I like made a note of it.
Yeah, it's just kind of like not very creative. It's just
yeah, and I think part of it is just that everyone's just kind of like standing around watching them talk.
Yeah.
Like it just feels awkward. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's supposed to be awkward, but I think the awkwardness goes even beyond that.
Yeah, like
Right, 'cause
partially intentional, partially unintentional, maybe. Yeah.
We're getting the setup of like, you know, that like there's this Marquis de Montesquieu, and he obviously wants to
Marry Laura.
he wants to marry Laura. Laura doesn't seem to like him, and then like dude, thank God for the twins, dude. Albina and Francoise, you know, they're like, let's play a game of hide and seek, you know?
Yeah, they all just immediately run into the hedge maze.
But everyone has to be a part of it.
It's very strange.
Dude. Oh, Jesus Christ.
The men will chase the women. So yeah, they all go into the hedge maze. Fun kind of tense sequence of that Jean-Baptiste is lurking somewhere in the maze. You don't know where. You know something's gonna go down, but you don't know what. So thought that was like a good tense setup. And this part's interesting where she sees him in the dark again, just like a monster in the darkness. She's in the light, and he starts chasing after her, and she runs into the arms of the Marquise. And I thought this was interesting that he's trying to kiss her. It's very uncomfortable. She doesn't want to be kissed. And he throws a rock to break one of the lanterns, which is interesting because I wasn't sure if his motivations was just to get them to separate so that he could then find her again in the maze, or if he's like possessive here, like he's like frustrated that he's kind of like or maybe being like he's mad at this dude for disrespecting the beauty of this woman or something. Like it's very like strange.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many reads on it.
Yeah.
I think for me it was the ultimately like
tactical move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
That's
he
the
can't be
easiest
seen
read.
taking her.
Right. Yeah.
But I think it is this thing where like we are watching the movie, kind of rooting for JBG. And like, this guy's an asshole. And so it's like, yeah, like there's this very generous read where you're like, yeah, JBG, like,
Yeah, well, I wrote.
yeah, you saved Laura.
Right, I wrote throws rock to help her? Question mark? Because like, yeah, I don't know. It is interesting. I could see, yeah, an angle of just he's pissed off because you're like again with the painting. It's like you're sitting on a painting or something that he respects a lot, and he's like mad that like, what are you doing? Like this needs to stop immediately.
Also, I think what's interesting is like he already took the twins at this point.
I don't know. This was a little bit too.
So I think he was like literally gonna go 3 for 1, dude. He was gonna try to finish like 3/4 of a chord,
Yeah, I struggle with this a little bit because like it's not a big nitpick, but enough of a nitpick where I'm like, how the hell did he get all these bodies out of there? Like he's obviously strong. It's been established that he's pretty like he can carry a lot of weight. But like
he's also choosing like petite women,
Yeah, but still, to take 2 women out of that maze and like over the fence without anyone like it's believable enough.
Well, they
but
show him with a cart, so maybe
yeah.
like I mean that's
throw a blanket over it. Yeah,
and I do like there's this moment of like not knowing, is it like who is it, right? Like
Yeah.
you're like because you're kind of like, oh, he got Laura,
right.
like,
Yeah, Alan Rickman's character, what's his name? Richie?
Riches,
Maybe
maybe like Rishis.
Rishi's is calling out for Laura. Yeah, another good little like misdirect here. If you're like, oh no, did he get Laura? Did he get Laura? And but like then Laura walks up, but the twins are missing.
Yeah, and then they're out looking for Albine and Francoise, and you see that he has both of them.
Right. So yeah, there's a sequence of them looking through the maze as he like prepares their body, and this is kind of when he really like solidifies his technique, right? And
Yeah,
he has it down to like a science now.
yeah, and we see like now, okay, the pattern is set. His scent is going to be all of these like girls
Right.
and women, right? Like that he's going to use.
Right. And then Dominique is pissed because he didn't do his work. He didn't move the
But
flowers.
he spilled a little bit of
Yeah,
that
that's-
scent, so he's nice to him.
Yeah, he drops a little bit of the oil on his hand.
Which is setting up this thing that like scent can affect the way that people like treat you, which is like an obvious thing. But this movie's taking it to the point of like, oh, like I'll do anything you say, right? Which
like yeah,
is
like
cool.
religious euphoria almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This like supervillain is so sick. Like
it really
like
is.
think
yeah.
about him, man. Like he's so dope. Like he is like.
Like he could be a Batman villain. You're right. Like in the comic book.
Yeah, I mean, I would even say something further than that. Like something with like, because I feel like Batman does have like some of these heightened villains, but because he is like more of like he's like a hero of gadgets and shit. Well, I mean, Batman could probably easily, just like put on the old respirator or something, but then there'd probably be like a whole subplot about like the guy finding Bruce Wayne and like finding him like at like a
well,
a
he
gala or
recognizes
something.
smells. Yeah, he knows. He meets
Oh, yeah.
Batman, and then he runs
Yeah,
into Bruce
yeah.
Wayne, and he's just like, "Oh, I know who you are."
Absolutely. Yeah, that's so true. That'd be great.
We need to write our spin-off mixed universe.
Yeah. That'd be great, dude. That would be really good. But yeah, I'm just picturing it because it's not just that, but like I was thinking of like, oh, he's going for really like good smells and pleasant smells where people treat you well, but like you could maybe create smells where like you encourage like people into a rage and like you could like distract. Man, I'm thinking about it so much in terms of like D&D as well, not just like narrative.
Totally.
Like
Well,
cool
now
stories.
he's a class, Jean Baptiste, the perfumer.
Well, it's
D&D
like
class.
it's like an alchemist like subclass, right?
Yeah.
I love the whole like scent influencing emotion,
Right.
and that's part of what I drew a lot of inspiration from when I was coming up with this idea that we won't get into because it's top secret.
Right.
But
I do love that the pursuit of this isn't to create something that manipulates, though. It's just the pursuit of beauty.
yeah, no, for sure, absolutely.
Which is great.
He does because he realizes it,
Yeah.
but that's never his original intention.
Yeah. It's just convenient.
Yeah, but I also feel like this is kind of a thing where like his intentions kind of like morph a little bit as he gets more information, right? Like when he realizes he has no smell, his like aim kind of like
His
change-
ambition grows, I would say,
Yeah.
because like
because it does feel like by the end he is like, yeah, I'm gonna influence people with scent.
yeah.
Like ultimately that happens at the end, but at this point it's not his intention at all.
Right.
It's just like he wants to create his masterpiece.
Exactly. He wants the world to know he exists through uh the pure mastering his
Yeah.
craft. Yeah.
And so then we get the two bodies like floating in the river, and
Yep.
then it seems like they also found the like body of the sex worker. There's the whole thing about the curfew.
Yeah.
Jasmine can only be picked before dawn. Everybody knows that,
I
you
love
know.
that. Yeah. Great detail.
And then I love you see Alan Rickman's character reaches is like obviously there's some intellect to him, and because he says, you know, the girls like they weren't like they were
they
still
weren't
virgins.
violated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
So-
also the virgin thing again into the like in terms of the purity of the soul, like he can only get the pure essence
But
of beauty.
he uses the sex worker as well.
True. Yeah.
Which
so
I
that's a good
thought
point.
lent to the idea of the different chords. Because also there are other girls
Oh,
that
that's a good
he
point. Yeah.
takes, right?
Yeah.
That we see, and we don't know anything about their like virginity status. So I think it is like there may be just parts of different parts of the like of the build, right?
Right. That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah,
Love
I
that.
figured maybe you know, I can't even theorize, but like maybe you put the sex worker scent into like the maybe like the heart of the chord, like the heart chord or something like that, right? Who knows?
Right.
But yeah. So it seemed to me like there was a mix, but just initially it's just that those two girls still were virgins. So it shows that it's because they're like, oh, obviously he's motivated by like wanting to like have sex with them, but then like he's like, no, actually that's not the case.
Right.
And then, like I said, I like that we see he's like a clever adversary.
Yeah, he is very clever and he's a good detective. We see I like the even just like the little thing of him going through the maze and seeing how he organizes like the posse, how thorough he is. He's like, okay, you come here, you go this way, walks up to the next entrance, you go that way, and then like, you know, just fanning out. Like you could see how methodical he is.
And he's just like supposed to be like a merchant of some sort.
I think he's a count or a marquise or like I think he's a noble. It's just this is like a merchant town, so he deals with the merchants.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think he was I think that I felt like he was like some sort of like businessman was like his
Yeah,
thing.
I'm not positive there.
Cuz in the credits just Riches
Right.
is his name.
Because he does seem to be part of the like authority of the town as well. So like
yeah, he's like part of like the council.
yeah, for sure.
Which seems to be a lot of like business owners like
Yeah.
who work in like cultivation of like scented things like lavender and jasmine,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
I also love that the economy of the town is built around scent.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. We get a great montage of death here.
All the accidental shootings are so fucking funny,
Yeah,
dude.
People just keep shooting each other because they're scared. I love that.
So many people fucking shoot each other.
It's really good.
And it is really interesting how it's like a curfew, we can't do a curfew. All this like montage of the different bodies, and then the curfew is instilled. And I kind of like how this movie skips all like the in between shit. It's like, all right, we set up his pattern. This is what he does.
Exactly. We don't need
He's
to.
killing.
We don't need to set up all the killings now. We've set up how he's going to do it, and now he's doing it.
And then we have this cool sort of like intercut of him in the lab while like the fucking priest is condemning him as like a
Yes.
demon and shit.
I love this stuff. Yeah, they're thinking he's like this like phantom, like force of nature, like a reckoning from God. Like all this stuff is really
Yeah.
cool to me.
And then the messenger shows up and he's like, this guy in Grenoble has been caught, and he confessed to the whole thing. But reaches immediately, he's like, no, it's not him. I know it's not him.
Well, he confessed to things that don't make sense.
And
yeah.
he did it under torture.
Right, which is a theme of the movie where everyone is confessing shit under
Yeah.
torture. Yeah. Yeah, they call him. I was writing down some of the things like they call him a necromancer and a
Yeah.
sorcerer.
Yeah, it's pretty good. A diabolist.
Oh, he's excommunicated as well. Yeah.
Diabolist is a good one. I like that
Yeah,
word.
me too. Yeah, we false confessor.
When
Oh yeah.
Laura is like dancing.
Yeah, they're kind of celebrating that he's been caught, even though
Yeah.
he hasn't. And yeah, they're having like a Burning Man kind of like setup here, where there's dancing around a big burning wooden man. I don't know what's up with that, but it's
And then,
cool.
yeah. And then reaches, snatches her away, and she's so pissed off. She's like, come on, Dad, I just want to dance. And then he slaps her,
Yeah,
and she runs away. I got to say, great parenting.
yeah, shit move. Yeah, but you know, feels pretty like realistic to this
Yeah, no,
era.
he's
I'm sure they were
and
manhandling
he's
their
like
children.
freaked out, you
Yeah.
know, like he's scared for her life. Still, it was just very like, you know, abrupt, the way that all played out.
Totally. And then she runs away. Jean-Baptiste tries to.
The alleyway is a really cool little like tension like meter.
Yeah. Again, him in the darkness behind
It's
the corner.
literally like it is like a literal visual like meter of like tension, right?
She's
she's
running
like
into the darkness.
right next to him. She's like almost 90% of the way to him. Then her dad shows up.
And she stops because unlike almost everyone else in the movie, perceives something is wrong.
Right. She seems to perceive him.
Yeah, she's like the only one who ever seems to notice him.
That's why I wanted like a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like I thought that maybe they would like talk or something at some point. Again, I think the way that the movie plays out and the sort of tone, I'm okay with that not happening ultimately, and it being more of like a visual thing. But still, I don't know. Very very interesting.
Yeah, this next part is another. So she goes back with him. Again, I love this. Like it's kind of the cosmic thing again, right? He has a nightmare that he's in the room and about to kill her, and then he runs in there, and she's fine.
And the window's open.
But the window's open.
Yeah,
ooh,
and
spooky.
You
spooky.
very specifically see him close that window too.
Yeah, I love. I thought just again the cosmic stuff. Like it just feels like destiny.
I did label this scene Richie's tucking his daughter into bed.
Yeah. So they flee
She
town.
also calls him Papa.
Yeah, it's very Papa.
Papa. It's so fun. It feels like a meme.
It does. I mean, she feels like this archetypical
Papa.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
but she's exactly what like she is in the metaphor of the movie, right?
Yeah. Yeah. She's just like, I just like rolled my eyes every time she like said stuff. I was just like, God, dude.
Jean-Baptiste chases them. The guard tells them they went the other way because they
well, when he sees the window open, he's like, we're leaving. So like it looks like they're moving all their shit, and then ultimately he does explain that he's gonna marry her off to the Marquis de Montesquieu.
Yeah. Well, they tried to trick. This was a good trick, right?
Yeah,
they sent her off in a carriage. Like, this is where the nobles went, but really
Then they depart. They go a different way.
Yeah.
She's wearing a little hat. She's disguised as like a dude.
Yeah.
Which we know because she's wearing a little tricorn hat, right? But then, like I was saying, ultimately we do hear him say like, we want to go to this island where there's like a monastery, and the guy's like, there's only a couple monks there, and his plan is he's gonna keep his daughter there until he can marry her off to the Marquis de Montesquieu, and then she's gonna go off and live with him.
Totally.
Because that's gonna keep her safe.
For whatever reason. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that I was confused why marrying her off would be safer than just protecting her yourself, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like the security or whatever, but like you seem to have like pretty good setup. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, you would think someone who is also just like so self-confident in their abilities and is very capable would try to control the situation more than hand it off, but whatever.
Yeah, but we get that really cool thing where he is at the like
sees her across the countryside or smells her across the countryside. Yes.
But also like the splitting roads, and the guy's like, I said north, and he's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, the rest of this movie just rocks me. I think it's so good. Like the tension building here, because like he's chasing after her. Oh, she's the 13th note, the last thing he needs to complete his perfume. The dog finds the belongings of the
hair and the clothes.
Yeah, so the dog rats him out.
They lay it all out. Yeah, dude.
I love that the dog is the one that unravels the case. That's so good.
Because it smells like he smells he smells her hair, right?
Yeah, at least his master's belongings or whatever. Yeah, and yeah, I love that he sniffs her across the countryside. It's such a cool shot. It's so weird. It just like you see just how powerful you've seen how powerful his nose is throughout the whole movie, but this like takes it to a new level where he's literally smelling her from like 20 miles away or something ridiculous.
Well, I think it's also like it was that day, right, that she left, and so like her scent is sort of like
it's
lingering.
It's not that he knows she's right there. It's just that the trail of her
right.
scent
Yeah,
is
it's
still
pointing like the sort of trail,
like
of
a
the
compass.
scent.
Yeah.
Like a pie on a windowsill.
Yeah, like a pie on a windowsill. Yes.
She is the pie on the on the proverbial windowsill.
Yeah, and then we get they arrive at a beautiful location for wherever they go to, like this kind of like cliffside castle settlement. I don't know what it is exactly, but very very pretty. Yeah,
and this is where he drops the sort of thing of like, I'm gonna marry you off, and
which is really sad because like their last. I feel like she's not super developed. I do feel like Alan Rickman's character is more of the heart of like you're supposed to empathize with him as a father more than you empathize with Laura as like a person in a lot of ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she really is treated like an object a lot in this movie.
Yeah. Well, but like elevated, like I like almost like an angel, like beyond, like more than a person in ways.
Yeah, like
Like a
a
symbol.
family heirloom or like a nice vase. Like again,
I would say
like an object, you know, like
I would say not an object, just like something that's bigger than life. Like more like more like an angel. Someone who is too
I mean,
pure.
I think he's treating her like a dad, right? Like a very
he is,
protective
yeah.
father, right?
Yeah, he's
like,
treating her like an object, but like it just to protect her, quote unquote. Yeah. Anyway, this whole sequence of him preparing, like we were talking about, as like there's just like this really good.
Well, before that
Yeah.
is you see that she's very like upset about all of this, you know.
Yeah, which sucks.
Yeah, but he does say, she goes, but Papa, and he goes, it's all arranged, Laura.
Yeah, and she runs off. Yeah, we get the teardrop from her on the bed. He's made sure that she has the room that cannot be climbed into. It's like just got a cliff wall.
And he fucking locks her in.
Locks her in. And he's the only one with the key. This whole sequence.
It's wild how sneaky he fucking is, dude.
Yeah,
Just fucking sneaks past fucking everyone, dude.
Right. He really
just
is.
walks up and grabs the fucking key.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just it's just this presence that isn't there.
He's like multi-class rogue.
Yeah. It's like his whole life he's been so in the background that's where he lives.
I think when they finally meet too is like really cool. I love the way it's done where he pulls out the club and is holding it over her.
Yeah.
She rolls over and so he sees her face
And he
he
hesitates.
stops.
Yeah.
And then she opens her eyes and sees him.
Yeah. And then it
Again.
just cuts. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I thought that was really well done too.
really well done, yeah. And it is like, you know what, like, and you're like, ooh, what happened? Like the key is where it was when he wakes up, and like Alan Rickman rushes in and there she is, dead and fucking, you know, hair
Head
gone.
shaved, yeah. Yeah. Really tragic. Yeah, and again it's
I was kind of excited.
It makes
I was like, dude, he's gonna finish his masterpiece. What's gonna happen?
I think that's one of the reasons this movie is so effective for me. It's just like, it's you're rooting for him, but you're also kind of like, I hate you. You're terrible. Like this is awful.
I also like that he finishes it, and right when he finishes it, he gets caught.
Yeah.
Surrounded by all these dudes with rifles. That's awesome. Like, there's no cat and mouse anymore.
Yeah.
There doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
Because like
He's done.
he's got power. Well, is he?
No, he's not.
He's got power in the palm of his hands, dude.
Yeah,
I love too that
crazy.
like they don't confiscate the perfume.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a little bit of a like. I don't know if that would you be able to sneak this in, but maybe shove it up your bum or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I was wondering if they were gonna show him pulling it out of his like.
Yeah.
I know that's insane, but in my head I'm like, how else does he get it in?
Yeah.
And it's just like kind of hand waved.
Yeah, which I'm fine with, but like.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's because people underestimate him.
Well, yeah. What is he gonna do, right? Unless you're a super villain with
I would smell it. I would smell it.
Right, fair.
Which I would.
Maybe you think it was a poison or something.
Which is interesting because like if you pulled it out and you smelled it, yeah, they would want to make sure he doesn't kill himself. If you pulled it out and you smelled it because he didn't dab it on himself,
Right.
do you still associate it with him?
Probably not.
You probably just have like this sort of like psychedelic trip, right? Like independent of his presence.
Yeah, you probably just like see God.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, so we cut to him being tortured. He's underwater, being hung upside down.
And then we get the fucking amazing. This is what made me say that Alan Rickman is potentially the best performance in the movie. Like,
you might have said that off camera. I can't remember, or off mic. Maybe you said it at the beginning.
well, I think that this line is like the best acting part, but I just mean like this is the part that makes me go, I think this is probably he is the best performance overall in the movie. I do think that Ben Whishaw, the fucking JBG, does really good job, does a lot, but like it's just like, I mean, again, I think it's maybe easier to give it to like people you can like empathize with a little bit more. So with with freaking Alan Rickman, I was like, this is fucking great.
Yeah, totally. And one thing, really quick, I forgot to mention this. Did you notice on Jean-Baptiste, he kind of has this like, almost like skin deformity going on his neck, and then like some coloring around his like. For a moment, I was like, is it just the actor has some sort of skin condition or something? But then I saw a picture of him, and it doesn't look like it. So there's some sort of I think there's some prosthetics they put on him for have some sort of skin condition or something.
I was thinking it was maybe from working in the tannery and like being exposed to all those chemicals.
Oh, maybe, yeah. It's just
like maybe something had like splashed on him or something. Also, I kind of love how his dirty fingernails are constantly shown, and it's gonna come in big like towards the end here.
Right.
But yeah, the whole speech, and then we kind of finally make it back to the beginning of the movie.
Of the execution. Yeah.
Everyone's coming together to see JBG get his bones broken.
Yeah, I love
And I wrote down, this is like sports for them, dude.
Yes. Yeah, and I listened to a whole podcast about this. This is like very real, that it really was like this. All the rich people and all the poor folks would gather in town.
The Dan Carlin one about torture?
Yeah, the hardcore history one, yeah. Where this was like this was a sporting event where you would like go get some food and like show up in the crowd, and like
it's pretty fucking wild.
It's really wild. And the executioner shows up, and he's like practicing clubbing the cross.
Well,
and stuff.
he's testing it. He's testing the stability of it
as he does it.
It's so fucking silly, dude.
I do love just the whole way they set up like this location and scene, and like the amount of people there and all that. I think it looks great. It's very visually cool.
And then he's like got the little fucking bottle. We see it, you know.
I love that we don't see exactly what goes down. We just see that he opens it up, they come in, and they just stop.
And then what we see is the dirty fingernails putting on the nice clothes.
Yes.
And you're like, that's JBG. Come on, we know it, dude.
Yes. This is where
the tension is so palpable too.
I love this whole. It's just so good. It's so fucking good. I love that it's just like his execution is the reveal of his masterpiece. Like he's turned his own, the celebration of his own death into the celebration of his creation.
It's his apotheosis. It's the death of his former self, the death of the nobody. It is the birth of him as somebody.
That's such a good point. Yeah, this is his apotheosis.
Dude. I know, dude.
Totally.
I love that it's just like, as he approaches, like everyone like stops and it's like quiet.
Yeah, he comes up in the carriage. You see him dabbing on his neck. Yeah, so artistically done.
But even before that, like it's just like people like notice him. Like before the carriage pulls up, I think we get like the shots of him like preparing. But then like, he just like everyone is so quiet. And they're like, oh, where is he? Where is he? And then it just like they just like open it, and you see like the guards like in reverence.
Right, they take off their hats. And,
it's such like a fucking like messianic sort of like imagery, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, in the music here again, like you're talking about like a religious experience, but there is this like it sounds like a choir operatic, but there's like this dissonance underneath it. Like it's just really
absolutely.
Really
there's a little
bit
of dissonance in the bass chord.
Yeah.
But and then like he walks up, everyone is in trance, and the executioner is saying he's innocent.
He couldn't have, and you hear the mumbling in the crowd, like he couldn't have done it.
Yeah. They're so intoxicated by him.
This is no man. This is an angel.
Yeah, the fucking priest.
Is he a bishop? I don't know.
And I did write at one point, I was like, I know that he's gonna fucking. What's funny is that I remember you telling me that he poured the shit all over himself at one point, and I was like thinking, oh, that's coming up here, but it doesn't.
Yeah, it's just a little bit. He puts a little bit on the handkerchief. I love the
he flicks it around.
It's just so cinematic and beautiful. Like I love this so much.
They all start going, touch me, and it's like this huge like group religious experience. And then when he finally like throws the kerchief,
and he's also just like working the crowd too.
He really is.
This is his moment. This is his one moment of satisfaction in his life, basically.
I don't think so. I think it's his second to last moment of satisfaction.
It's true, fair. But yeah, just like him finally feeling like everyone loves him.
Yeah,
and it's just so beautiful. Like it's one of my favorite scenes.
All these people do a really good job of looking like they're on ecstasy too.
Yes, it does feel like a big like ecstasy rave or something. Yeah.
And then like what I love about it turns into this huge orgy, and he's in the middle so lonely still, and it is
Yes.
this like the isolation of genius,
It's
which is one of the things I didn't
beautiful.
mention at the beginning, but was
Oh, I'm writing
something
that
that
down.
that I
Isolation of
meant to
genius.
that I
Yeah.
meant to bring up is that being great means you're lonely.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know, dude. I know. All the hours I put into editing this podcast so that we can be the greatest film analysis podcast on the planet, dude. Trust me, man. I know.
It's lonely out here.
It's lonely out here for a podcaster.
Yeah, this.
Wait,
this,
no, I have you.
Oh, baby, we're together. Yeah, no, the narration does kind of explain his thoughts soon after the scene, but just like the visual storytelling here of like you're saying his how alone he is and how his joy you see it fade as he realizes that he can't understand what his creation is making people feel, which is love.
It's also like there is, well, it is almost like he can't and he can. Like he finds the like analog in his mind because like he starts to have this sort of vision, right,
Yeah.
of the plum girl, like
Yeah.
because the writhing, it looks like the writhing mass of bodies, and then there's like a basket of plums,
Yeah.
and he seems like he's almost like taken back there, right? Like he's triggered by it, like there's trauma there, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like he's having this vision of them like holding each other
Yeah, it just
and then
wants a
making
hug.
love,
Yeah.
it seems like, or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And it is like this tragedy of like, and he's got the single tear, you know,
Yeah.
she fucking died, he killed her, and all he ever like wanted was for her to love him.
Yeah, well, he wants that. That's what's so tragic about it is that he's created the most pure, like, essence of love, but he can't really understand it, and he realizes like how hollow it is, and like how hollow his existence is right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think also like the whole pure thing of love, I don't know about that. I think it's kind of like the way that it comes up and it's talked about, it feels like it really is sort of like unbridled, well, like it's just like desire.
I think it's supposed to represent, like they talked about, the essence of a rose. This is the essence of humanity. He's like extracted.
Yeah, I just feel like, I don't know, I guess maybe it's just like I feel like then if that were the case, like it wouldn't be so easy to shrug off and everyone just be like, we'll just forget that. I mean, I guess it's just like such overwhelming love, right? I guess
I think it's just like
I
they're
think it's also-
ascended
it's
to religious
because-
ecstasy.
well, I think it's because it's the like, to me, expressing it as such a carnal thing of like them all having sex, that doesn't mean ultimate love to me, right?
I think it's just like it represents just how it stripped away all of their reservations and all of their fears and all of their distaste for other humans into just pure wanting to bask in each other's like bodies and love. I don't know. I think it's
Yeah,
just,
I think the tying of like, I think your read is what it wants, right? But I feel like for me personally, like so closely tying the idea of pure love and sex feels like a little like meh, you know? I don't
Yeah.
like, if it really is that, like, then I feel like it would play out differently to
Yeah.
me. But hey, fair enough.
Right. Yeah, well, I think it's also, yeah, just like a visual story. Like, what's another visual storytelling way you could show it? I think it's just like the vulnerability that like every boundary between them has fallen away. Like they're just a pile of love, basically.
Yeah, I guess you gotta just put yourself into the
like they're all
mindset. Yeah.
in the visuals of everyone just
Yeah, no, it's cool.
naked
It's
and
very cool. It's very
writhing.
wild. But again,
Yeah.
like to me, it didn't register like this thing is the ultimate like. I guess like with what they say, it does like it is like that. It is like an aspect of love, but there is this very, I don't know, man. Like I think
It feels wrong. Like it feels
the big orgy. I'm chilling with that.
no,
whatever.
I mean it feels. I mean it's so manipulative, right? So there is this dark undertone to it.
Sure, I guess the thing is because they all like eat him at the end, where I'm like, like they want to consume him, but is it because they know that that's what like he wants?
I don't know. I love it. I don't know.
No, I know, I love it, but that's the whole thing about tracking this whole like pure
Oh,
love
I'm not
thing.
saying like I'm disagreeing with you. I'm just saying like I don't know what it means, but it's awesome.
For sure, but that's why I'm saying like the idea of it being like, oh, this love, this essence of humanity, this purity distilled. It's like doesn't fully
Sure.
maybe track for me. Maybe what he extracted from them is, I don't know.
Desire? Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
what I said. That's
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what it feels like to me. Especially being consumed at the end, like
Yeah.
it feels like that.
But it's like it's desire with this like pureness underneath it. That's what's so I don't know. That it just dips into the cosmic. I don't know. And there's
I
not
think
really
like
an
the
answer.
pure light is like we're like the white hot burning light is this sort of like sun warmth, and like the sun and the warmth of the sun is like God and his love for his children in a way.
Yeah.
It's all of these things playing into each other. But then again, I think it is like this almost like opium, this like ecstasy, this bliss, but it is like this sort of drug, right?
Yeah.
Is what it is ultimately.
Totally.
And again, it doesn't need to be like perfectly laid out, you
No.
know? I love the way the end of the movie plays out. The part with Rishis walking up to
Yeah,
him,
he's
so
ready to
pissed,
kill
you
him.
can't fool me.
Yeah.
And he like hugs him.
And he's ready to die right there too.
Yeah.
John is because he's
He looked kind of like he was asking for a hug to me, dude.
he's just like accepted that
Yeah.
he doesn't want to live anymore.
You know what I thought at that moment was that he was so sure of the power of his perfume that he knew that he wouldn't strike him.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I think we see him have this kind of hollow realization. Like he worked his whole life to create this thing that he just like can't take part in, I think.
For sure.
And
I knew he wasn't gonna fucking stab him. I feel like JBG deep down, baby, he knew he wasn't gonna get stabbed.
I think
And he
he's-
says, "I forgive you, son." That's so wild how there is all these like moments of false catharsis.
yeah.
He's innocent. He's an angel.
Yeah, the fact that he
Forgive
calls
me, my son.
yeah, he calls him his son. That's so fucked.
Yeah. And then this whole next part, it feels kind of like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy to me, almost like the way like this was so wild and outside of the norm of what everyone was used to that they erased it from their memories.
Well, a lot of them did at least, yeah.
And that then so they arrest Dominic Drouot for the fucking crimes.
Yeah.
And after 14 hours of torture, he admits to everything.
I love it. Because that was so funny because I was like, all of his masters die, and then Dominique didn't die. And I was like, I guess not. And then it comes back around at the end. I love
But
that
I didn't
so
really
much.
feel like he was the master. It felt more like
Sure, yeah, the lady. Yeah, she was more in charge for sure.
yes. That's how I felt.
Totally.
At
I agree.
least,
I agree.
you know.
Um,
Her name is Madame Arnolfi.
right. Yeah.
And then we get a lot of the VO explaining, he has enough like perfume to enslave the world, the invincible power to command the love of mankind.
Yeah.
And
Really
then
good stuff.
it's cool. Then he goes back to where he came from.
Well, so he also, it basically like states here, like, he basically decided to hell with the world and to hell with himself.
Yeah.
Because he can't.
He's done with it.
He
He's
can't
over
be part
it.
of it. Yeah, which is powerful to me. I really like just this in terms especially of people who are good at stuff story, like the ambition and like getting to the top and then finally looking down and realizing like what was it all worth.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I also really like the way that it all ends. Like I said, I'm very happy for him, dude. Like I think like he is like to hell with everything. And I feel like it is very beautiful that in fully surrendering, he kind of finds this blissful end in a way.
Yeah.
Because, he covers himself, douses himself completely in this perfume in the fish market where he was born, where there's all these people who are hungry and sick and in need, right? And he covers himself in this shit, and all these people just completely like dogpile on top of him and start eating him alive.
Yeah.
And then they walk away, and the line that it says about like something about like
for the first time in their lives, they had done something purely out of love.
yeah. And it's like, dude, you don't have to exist anymore. You don't have to be tortured
Yeah.
by your existence.
Yeah.
And like you nourished these people in their time of need,
Right.
It's very beautiful, dude. He is rather Christ-like, actually.
Yeah, it's really always stuck with me, this ending, and it's like you said, I don't. It's one of those endings where I feel like I don't need to make complete sense of it because it just like the emotion it leaves me with, I feel like is what I need from it.
Yeah, these two parts reminded me a lot of the movie Mother for sure.
Haven't seen it.
And
Me
it
too.
like I remember as a movie going experience, I saw that movie the day it came out in theaters. Me and my buddy got out of class and we went and saw it, and I was so impacted by all the visuals and like again it was this thing where it's like I can't fully make sense of it. I'm like putting these different pieces together, but I know what I just saw was like fucking amazing. Like
Yeah.
what a fucking undertaking.
Right.
And then of course the one last little drop, which felt very like X-Men or fucking like superhero movie.
Right.
To
It's
me.
like the spoilers for the end of X-Men 3, like Magneto's lost his powers, but you see at the very end one of the pawns shake a little bit or whatever, one of the metal pieces on the chessboard.
Yeah. I also love the way like his body like slowly like the clothes are just like there, and then like at the end the kids like pick up his clothes
I
and
thought
take
this
him.
was really interesting because
He's been recycled into the earth like Waterworld, dude.
right, but I kind of took it is that like it was almost like the adults didn't even see where his body was. Like it was like almost like hollowed ground, like beyond. Like again, this cosmic
Well, again,
stuff.
he has no smell, you know.
And but just like the fact that like they just left all this stuff there and all these things and nobody bothers to pick anything up.
Because no one ever noticed him.
Yeah, but the kids notice him, and I love that tie around to the beginning where the kids are the first one to notice like there's something off about him, and then the kids are the ones who like pick up the remains of his clothes and all that, and like he's just gone from the earth, all memory of him and all of his existence except for that last drop of perfume, like good stuff, man.
Yeah, good shit, good shit. Fun little guy. Fun movie. I would say, as weird as it sounds, fun one.
It is fun, yeah. It's it definitely it has this place in my heart of just being something that taps into the unknown of existence in a way that I think is very special. My tier rating would be in A tier. I think S tier story, in my opinion. Something about the execution of the movie, like it just feels like it's missing a little something. Maybe a little too cold. I'm not sure exactly, but I'm very excited to read the book and see if it can be that S tier I'm looking for.
Word, for sure. I'm going to say, based on some of the performances, some of the things we've discussed as well, and some of the tone decisions, I'm going to go B plus-ish.
Yeah.
Again, I thought this movie was fun. It was a good watch. I think that with the things that you've sort of presented, I'm excited to revisit it at some point. Another spin-off podcast, dude.
The revisits.
But it was good shit. I really love the themes. I feel like it points to something greater than itself.
Yeah.
Like I think that's why we keep saying, "Oh man, can't wait to check out the book."
Right.
Like I asked my dad, "Should I read the book?" And he was like, "You absolutely need to read the book."
And yeah, one of my dad's favorite books too, so we should probably trust our dad.
Like I wouldn't say to someone you absolutely need to watch this movie, but I think a thing that we were saying about Wes Anderson last week, like we're happy this exists in the space, right?
Yeah.
Like this is a cool movie to exist. Like
Right.
it like you're saying, it walks a lot of different lines. I'm glad it's out there.
Yeah, and I do think it's kind of a hidden gem. Like not many people, I don't know anyone who really knows this movie or has ever mentioned it or anything, and I do think it's worthy of seeing. I think people should watch it. I mean, I would give them, the stipulation like prepare for a really weird, creepy movie, but it's
I wouldn't
awesome.
say like you need to watch this.
Yeah.
But I would say it like if you're okay with these things, then
Yeah.
like check it out.
Totally. Yeah, I love it. It's a great movie.
Fun movie. Fun shit, dude. R.I.P. JBG.
Yeah, he was a problem, but an interesting problem.
Man, he was, dude, in the sound world, he was a problem. With like the emoji with the fucking nostrils breathing out the steam.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Well, I loved it. Great way to start the month, I think. Yeah, it like we said, we swapped this out for another movie last minute,
Yeah,
And
welcome everyone to Pwagus Month.
Yeah, I was just like, thinking of, like, this movie popped into my head for whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, he is really good at stuff. Like, this is a great people who are good at stuff movie.
Yeah, he's great at stuff. I think another theme is being really bad at stuff with people who are good at stuff.
Yeah, what they lack because they're great at other things, which is part of that
when
sacrifice theme.
when you're in character creation and you're putting your like points towards different attributes,
Right.
like you can't have it all,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, should we let them know what we're going to be watching next week, Alfredo?
Yeah, we should.
We're going to be watching Searching for Bobby Fischer.
Searching for Bobby Fischer. If you're curious what they're good at, it's chess.
Yeah.
So all you Queen's Gambit nerds, get your fucking Gibsons ready.
Yeah.
Get a jar of fucking cocktail onions and let's talk about Bobby Fischer.
Yeah, I'm excited. I haven't watched this one since probably I was a kid.
I've never seen this movie.
Oh, yeah. So this is going to be, 2 in a row. And there's another movie, spoilers, this month that I have not seen. So we're just packed with some fresh takes here, which I love.
Some fresh shit. Well, anyway, as always, that has been us. I am Alfredo.
I'm Connor.
And you've been listening to Cinema Forecast. Please like, rate, subscribe, leave us a comment, find us everywhere at Cinema Forecast. That's cinema and then forecast, Fourcast. Everybody have a lovely week. Thank you so much.
See you in the forecast.